Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's show. So we are starting late. I even considered calling this stream KSP After Dark because it's literally past midnight for me. It's quite late. But I decided to reserve that for a future stream where I'd go over your questions because ever since I created the Discord, people have been asking all kinds of different questions, and I just decided to go through all of the already existing messages and get the questions from them. Also, I created a separate thread where you can submit your own questions, and obviously during the stream itself, we'll also go through the questions, just answering everything from more complex things like setting up, I don't know, like resonant orbits or something very advanced like gravity maneuvers, to simple things like how do I get to orbit? I've never played this game, and how do I get started? All those kind of things. But that's going to be in a future stream. For now, we are going to be obviously working on the existing playthrough that we have. Oh wow, I just noticed for some reason the chat window on my second monitor is not updating because I opened up the YouTube studio and saw a bunch of messages. I hope this will resolve. You did not hit the T-pose yet. You can screenshot that. Okay, I need help. I can't play KSP because the RAM allocation leak. Do you know how to fix this? Do you have mods installed? Because, I mean, if you have a bunch of mods, then, well, you obviously will have the problem. And also, when you mean RAM, do you mean, like, actual RAM, or do you mean VRAM on your card? Because I know there's some issues with VRAM around KSP, but normal RAM you should probably not have the issue with that. If you do have issues with that, then I'm truly sorry, because that might mean that you have a potato PC. But with that out of the way, let's dive into today's topic, which is continuing our KSP playthrough. So did a little bit of thinking, I do that sometimes, on what we should do next, and essentially we are kind of locked into this whole ordeal with setting up the huge expedition to Eve, and we are currently waiting for our relay satellites to arrive to Eve so that we can set up a good relay system so that we can send probes there. And I kind of thought about it, and look, sending probes and using them as our relay system around Eve is obviously going to be useful for just sending science, for having the enough like probe control around that. But the primary objective of the Pupa and Lupa relay satellites that are currently en route to Eve was to allow us to launch the big payload carrier vehicle. Let me just show you. I have 16 gigabytes of DDR5. Not great, not terrible. That should be good. That should be fine. But yeah, I can see you have some big mods like volumetric cloud, so that could be the reason. I don't have volumetric cloud, so I can't really comment on that. Might be the source of your issues. Either way, you can try my mod setup, just see if you have RAM leaks with it, because I've been running it for quite a while on a fairly poor laptop that had 8 gigabytes of VRAM, and I even managed to stream during those times. It was painful, but it was possible. So you can check that out with some settings, shenanigans that should work. But going back, I have this probe. Where do I have it? Yeah, give me 1 second. I forgot. Yeah, the Eve probe carrier. I'm sorry, I cannot read. So essentially this huge craft that just has a bunch of these probes, and it'll go into orbit around Eve, it'll deploy those probes, and they'll land at different locations to do two things. The primary objective is to just collect a bunch of science before we actually send a manned mission, because I do want to get as much science as possible, so that the expedition that I send has all the latest, coolest technology, and we can extract most out of it. And the second is just to literally scout for a good landing spot, because Eve has cloud cover, especially if you're playing with parallax, you cannot see the surface, and by just bombarding it with a couple of these probes, I will get a significantly better understanding of where to potentially launch future expeditions. Also, it's kind of weird, but let me check just for a single second. No one, literally no one, is in the vertical stream, and that is not a particularly typical behavior, but okay, seems fine. So I guess no one's watching vertical streams now. YouTube just has been pushing them very aggressively at some point, but they kind of changed that from day-to-day basis. Okay, let me read some messages. Well, I've run volumetric class v5 and parallax continued one save in the past, and it worked. I've never manually patched the Unity security vulnerability. Probably not the issue, but it is something to look at. Yeah, if you haven't patched the Unity security vulnerability, please do so. It is kind of important. It's a big deal. I haven't patched it, but I'm running Linux, so I'm not sure if it can be exploited if I'm running it like under Linux. So not sure about that, but if you haven't done so, please do so. I think I've researched that Linux is fine, but don't quote me on that. Not sure, don't remember right now. Just remember that I decided not to do it for one reason or the other. Okay, but for now, the overall idea is to just do a bunch of money-making missions. But previously, I was just doing the money-making missions for the sake of just earning more money. That's it. The primary objective is just I need to upgrade the R&D facility. I have a hard limit on like research science at 500, which is not a lot. Primarily, it restricts me from building mining stations on Minmus and doing all the cool stuff that comes with that. However, previously, yeah, I was just launching these single missions to just go do some stuff. Pretty boring. Now I've just decided, why don't we try to combine it with actually preparing for the manned mission to Eve? Because I know that we're going to be launching it at some point, so why not try to capitalize on that and just like store some fuel in orbit, which is, to be fair, what we've been doing in this series, but also trying to just set up maybe like some parts of the ship, of the colony ship that'll go to Eve. I do want to try to make it a constructible ship that I'll launch in like multiple parts and then assemble in orbit. And the reason for that is because, again, our facilities are trash. I have a limit of 255 parts, which is not a lot, especially if you're playing Kerbalism. And for the big colony ship, I wanna have it at around 500 parts, which is the sweet spot where if I go more than that, it's probably just going to be a little too complex, and probably my PC won't handle it too great, especially like for the stream quality and whatnot. But below that, we're just not utilizing the full potential. Watching your stream in VR. How does that work? Okay. Sure, let's move on. I want to switch to Linux, but I don't know which distro to use, and it doesn't have as much support as Windows. Use any. Like, it genuinely does not matter, unless you're, like, decided to use your first distro as something really strange. But for the most part, it genuinely just does not matter if you're just entering. Pick any distro you like. If you don't have a preference, just pick one and just give it a go. Just try it out. Also, you've probably heard it, but you don't have to switch to Linux to try out Linux. You can install a virtual machine and just give it a go. Just see how it feels and try it out, because I've switched. And the reason why I'm like saying that it doesn't really matter which distro you choose is because my first distro was Debian, which is a poor choice of a first distro. But the reason for that was that I was using a Raspberry Pi. I got into Linux because of that, and I was running the PiOS, which is a derivative of Debian, and that's how I got to work with Linux. And it has been a very fun journey, and I think it took me like 3 or 4 years of playing around with the Raspberry Pi before I finally decided that, okay, it's time, and I moved to Linux as my primary operating system, but I still kept Windows for like another, I don't know, like 4 years as just kind of a backup for some applications and whatnot. But I've been proudly running Linux as my primary operating system for like, 4 or 5 years by this point, and haven't had any issues. Pretty much any application just found either an alternative or just straight up used it directly through Proton or Wine or whatever. For example, the KSP that you're seeing right now, I'm running the Windows version. It's the Windows version built of KSP that I'm just running under Linux through Proton. And the reason for that is Parallax Continued doesn't support OpenGL. It only supports DirectX. For reasons, I talked with the author of Parallax Continued on why he made that decision, because the Parallax original one works exactly the same in both the Windows and the Linux builds, and the overall idea is that it's too bad to debug OpenGL shaders because OpenGL is a very old library, it's very complicated. Okay, do you take craft suggestions? I'm sorry, I've been yapping for a million years, but do you take craft suggestions? Yes, I do. And, okay, Ubuntu is fine for beginners. Yes, it is fine. I'm rocking Ubuntu. Never ever felt a need to try anything. Okay, I've tried Parrot OS and Kali Linux, but that was when I was going through the hacker stage in school, when I was just going around trying to hack school Wi-Fi, that kind of stuff. Very fun stage of my life. But okay, let's get back to KSP, because I can talk about Linux for quite some time. Quite enthusiastic about trashing on Windows. I mean, seriously, just don't use Windows at all. Either Mac or Ubuntu, or just generally Linux. It doesn't have to be Ubuntu, but not Windows. Whatever you use, just please not Windows. Windows sucks. It has to be punished for its sins because it has sinned too much. Okay, continuing on with KSP, we have a bunch of these contracts. One of them, kind of dumb. Launch the Mun space station. We actually haven't launched the Mun space station. We don't really need one per se, because Mun is not a particularly good place for a mining operation. Like, I obviously want an orbital station around Minmus, because we're gonna be mining it into oblivion, maybe even two. But Mun is not as attractive of a destination. But you know what? Let's accept the contract, just launch it either way. We also have this, like, contract to just take some supplies to Aurora. We will essentially go there anyway, so why not do that? Science data from space around Minmus, very easy, let's do that. Another one from surface, we can already start building an outpost, so again, let's accept. Explore Eve, not gonna accept now, even though we already have missions flying there. The reason for that, I'm just waiting till I get the contract that has fly by Eve, get into orbit around Eve, but not return to Kerbin from a flyby of Eve, because the satellites that have launched there are not capable of returning back. Well, actually, I think they are technically capable, just not something I want to do, because they're really satellites. They're supposed to be there. And because the KSV just randomly selects these contracts, I'm just waiting until I finally get a good one. Gather surface deployed mystery goo observation science from the surface of Mun. I mean, more science is more better, so let's accept that. Plan to flag on Minmus. We're gonna be making something there, so let's accept that. Rescue some dude from Mun. Let's go. Rescue some dude from Mun. Let's go. Rescue some dude from Mun. Let's go. And we also have this weird repair satellite. Not a particularly interesting thing. Not gonna accept it. And we also have just haul something into something. Again, too boring. Let's not do that. I'm not gonna decline these contracts because I'm just gonna wait till they shuffle into something new, because we already have like a bazillion contracts. Thank you for saying the new streamer unlocked. Sounds great. Making a base on Minmus. Any ideas? Mining colony, obviously. Duh. If you haven't done that, always do that first, because that's practical, and I'm a proud follower of form follows function. I think that's just generally a good motto. But yeah, it's just it's a good thing to have. All right, so we have a bazillion contracts that we have to do, and some of them are around going to Mun. Actually, a ton of them are around going to Mun. We also have this one weird contract that I haven't completed. Essentially, we have to recover a bunch of Kerbals. And one of them is Gittedorf, and I didn't recover him during the previous stream. The reason for that is because I'm stupid, and I didn't really plan for that. I didn't have a slot. And so one of the ships around the Mun, which is the space taxi, has the Gittedorf and Wenrick there. I'm pronouncing the name wrong, but who cares? So we're gonna go catch those guys, also catch some other guys that are already in orbit around Mun, and take all that nice little family, come back home. But one thing I've noticed with my previous landings is I have developed a pretty sleek craft, as I think. I think it's great. It's called the utility ships, the space taxi. Very versatile craft. It looks absolutely majestic with the liquid hydrogen tanks. I think those looks extremely futuristic, and it's very nice. There's just one problem. It's kind of expensive at 50k. It's just too expensive. And also, like, the primary problem, and partly the reason why one of the contracts was not completed during the previous stream, is it only has 4 crew slots, which is not enough. It's like 4, which is less than 5 or 6 that we could have. English such much. So I've decided that maybe we need a new craft, something more capable, and especially more cheap to go and do these whole a bazillion astronauts from place A to place B kind of missions, which are extremely boring, but they provide a ton of research points, or not research, but the contracts, money. Sometimes they also give a little bit of R&D. But the primary goal is to reduce our costs for launch, because they're high. And this craft is kind of nice in the sense that it has a lot of food, and so if they get stuck in orbit, they have a lot of resources. But that's usually not a problem, because this craft is not supposed to go far enough for it to possibly be a problem. So instead of all this shenanigans with launching a bazillion crafts, I decided to craft a completely new, craft that'll be more advanced, more Kerbals at a time, and also very, very cheap. And obviously, the first thing when you want to cut costs is using child labor. That's a joke. Yeah, step 1, let's try to use cheaper components. So, for the launch, one of the cheapest way to get to orbit with KSP is using solid rocket boosters. The problem with those is they're kind of hard to control, but it actually tends to be easier to control with bigger crafts. And another good idea of bigger crafts is that they're generally more efficient. And because I need to haul stuff into orbit as cheap as possible, I'm going to be using big crafts. But that also comes with a little bit of a side grace of just having the craft sometimes be too big for a mission. So I've decided that instead of having this ultra big craft that's like really expensive to deorbit, I'm going to have my primary craft, which is going to be a huge hauler. It's going to have a powerful engine, very efficient engine, and all that good stuff, but it'll also have a bunch of these deorbit capsules that I'm going to be landing when I just need to return a bunch of astronauts. And if I have to deorbit too many of them, I'll just leave the capsules on one of the space stations. I'll just dock them there and return the rest. And on this stream, I also want to show you how I approach designing a craft, because usually for these streams, I just come up with an already existing design that I test out before starting the stream. But in this particular case, I want to show you roughly how it works if you want to actually design the craft yourself, just to see how that can be approached. So let's do that. Okay, so obviously I'm gonna start with the big fat capsule, this one, because it's cool. That's reasoning. Okay, so I know that I will need a bunch of crew pods, like the re-entry capsules, and there are 2 schools of thought that generally can work here. The first school of thought is, I'm just gonna roughly show the general outline. The first school of thought, big craft in the center, and then multiple crafts on the sides, just kind of sticking out there. Can I get the radial Where's the... Yeah, that one. Yeah, okay. So basically a bunch of radial ports, bunch of crew capsules around it. Very nice for space, because in space you really don't care about the form of your craft. The problem is that the diameter of this craft is going to be ginormous, especially considering that these crafts are not enough. I also need well, engines and stuff. So a different approach could be the vertical approach, is where I would create my craft, like the primary craft, and then I would just stack a bunch of these capsules, I know, very sophisticated, like this, and in orbit, once I've actually put myself into low Kerbin orbit, I can go and reattach them to the sides for aesthetic purposes, because I mean, this is just ugly. But this will obviously have a much thinner profile, so lower drag, good for launch, bad for stability though. But I have no clue which one would work in this particular case. And most importantly, I don't know what to name this craft, so let's go with our standard Unga Bunga as our working name. And we'll figure it out depending on how it looks, because the name has to serve meaning, and one of the possible meanings is how the craft looks. Okay, so the primary setup here... oh, by the way, I didn't explain why would you want to reattach these. And the primary reasons is because for the main crew compartment, you probably want to use something like the pressurized crew tube, and these allow you to connect docking ports on the side in a way that if you have connected living space enabled, astronauts will be able to traverse to the escape pods through tunnels, and it's good. It's good for business. You don't have to EVA astronauts one at a time, which gets annoying. And just having everyone in the same living space is obviously good until it's not. But, okay, so let's say that I have just a bunch of these crew capsules. Let's say I'm going to have 3 to 4 of them, okay? This is 4 crew capsules. So this is my, rough estimation of how heavy this craft would be. So it's going to be at around 11 tons. For the orbital stage, I'm obviously going to be using the hydrogen tanks. The reason for that is they're light, and I didn't have an upgraded launch pad, and whatever it is that I have now is still, I think it's not the max level yet. I actually don't remember. Let's check that out. I probably could have checked that from the building itself. What accent do you have? Ruski. Yeah, it's not fully upgraded. So let's okay. What I was talking about is it's not that cut me off guard, the accent. So the launch pad is not fully upgraded. So I can't launch extremely heavy crafts, and that's a big problem because heavy craft means more delta V, and I need more delta V. So I was building my orbital infrastructure around liquid hydrogen engines because liquid hydrogen is more efficient per unit of mass. And for that reason, the orbital stage will have to be something around liquid hydrogen, just because all of my fuel reserves in orbit are liquid hydrogen. And we obviously want to use something extremely efficient as our primary engine, something like this bad boy. Just gotta be careful about ignition count. We don't want to use something that has few ignitions, because that would be poor. for business, because we'd have to like maintain it all the time. Just not useful. And I think this one actually looks pretty much perfect because it has like the highest engine ISP in vacuum, and we know we're going to be using it in vacuum at 468, and yeah, I think that's sort of the highest that I can get in liquid hydrogen. So yeah, let's use this one. It's a smaller one, but who cares about... Oh, actually, I do care about thrust to weight ratio because it's going to be a pretty hefty craft. And we can already see that our thrust to weight ratio is absolutely atrocious. And if we're going to be making something like a transfer to Mon, we'd either have to do it in 2 burns, which takes forever, or it's just not going to be as efficient, and we'll gain efficiency by using a more efficient engine, but then we'll lose efficiency by not having the optimal trajectory. So I'll actually examine right now. Can I put just like 3 of them or something? Let's put an engine plate. Let's see. Can we do yada 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 3? How's that gonna look? That's gonna look absolutely atrocious, even if I use compact. Once I extend these engines, yeah, it does not look good. I mean, it looks absolutely atrocious. They're overlapping way too much, and I mean, I could probably try to offset them. But even if I offset them at an absolute max, well, they're kind of sort of not overlapping. Maybe this is possible to use. I'm not entirely sure, but this still gives us a thrust to weight ratio of like 0.5. Whereas with the big bat engine, we have a thrust to weight ratio of like 0.7. And it's also more efficient because it's also significantly lighter. So yeah, after careful consideration, you can see that I've decided to use the big fat engine because it's just easier. I suck at this game. We all do. Like, not that I have a clue on what's going on. But yeah, again, I'm gonna advertise. I'm gonna have, like, join the Discord because I'm gonna be hosting a KSP After Dark event when I'm gonna be answering your questions that you can go right now to Discord, and there's a thread under news which you can go into. You can ask your questions and I'll answer them. If you're struggling with KSP, you don't know how to do something, I'll answer them during that stream. Download this code Monly mod for crew. You can try the large airliner crew module. I'm pretty much locked on the existing mod set for this playthrough, but I'll take a look at it someday, maybe. But for now, I'm just kind of mostly locked into the mod set that I have because I think it is sufficient for the existing missions that I have. Okay, so this is going to be my upper stage. Obviously, I need to select vacuum here. Oh, by the way, yeah, I was checking out. I'm sorry, I'm retarded. I forgot to check vacuum. That's why the thrust to weight ratio on the smaller engine was absolutely horrible, because it also is way less efficient at sea level, which is what I had selected. Actually, this sounds pretty good. Like, if I use 2 fuel tanks, I can get about 3 kilometers per second of delta V, which is what I consider to be good enough for most missions, especially since I'm going to be using slightly less. I'll have slightly less, because this is just a rough estimation of the weight. Obviously, the escape capsule is going to be significantly heavier, and we're going to have way more. But the problem is, again, I'm gonna gain some thrust to weight ratio by using the larger engine, and while that will reduce my delta V, It might actually be better because I'm going to be executing the maneuvers faster, Oberth effect, more efficiency, good for business. So let's keep the bigger engine. Okay, TLDR, we're using the bigger engine because the smaller engine, if I use multiple, is going to be hard to work around, and if I use one, it's just not enough. So the bigger engine it is. Now, let's design the actual crew escape capsule thing, and we're gonna need a new craft for that. Again, the Unga Bunga, but it's small. So let's design the escape crew capsule. Obviously, we are going to need some way to dock. And I think the easiest way to put a docking node is at the top, so that we can connect to stuff and easily transfer our crew. And then we just need a bunch of parachutes because obviously we're going to be re-entering. And surprise, surprise, we're going to need a heat shield because potentially, well, most likely, this capsule is going to be going from Mun orbit or Minmus orbit, TLDR. It's going to be slamming into the atmosphere real hard. Don't want it to burn up, especially with astronauts on board. That would be annoying to deal with the press if they burn up. The only problem is if I put one of these decouplers and then I put like a little bit of fuel here and then I put like some engine here, you can see that it's already kind of tall. And if I want to have like more of these, like 4 or something, it's just going to be way too tall. So how about we try to build everything in this crew capsule, just really tightly pack it. Also, it doesn't necessarily have to be the Mark 125 command pod. Maybe I'll choose the Mark 18. We'll see about that. But for now, let's work with this. Oh, by the way, we can actually try to use the re-entry modules. I mean, they have an integrated ablator in them, so that could save on weight, potentially. What's their crew capacity? So it's like 3, and it's way lighter. Lighter is good. Lighter is cheap, and I'm trying to go for cheap. So they have an impassable node at the top. Well, that's a problem, because if they have an impassable node at the top, that means that I'm gonna have to connect them from the bottom. But if I'm connecting them from the bottom, that's where the staging is. So it'll stage off, and how am I supposed to make the engines around that? I have no idea, but okay, let's keep this for now. I'm just gonna try to see if I'm gonna be using the pomegranate. How is that gonna look? Let's just try that out, see how it goes. Okay, so I have my pomegranate here. And again, the passable node on this thing is at the bottom. Okay, so just to check, just to verify that I'm understanding this perfectly correctly, if I put another habitation module, connected living space shows that this is all the same space. Okay, and if I put it at the top, connecting living space shows 2 of them. So, essentially it has to go through the bottom part here. And once it detaches, everything has to be around this. So we're obviously going to need a parachute, and I'm not sure which one I need. Can I use the smaller one? No idea, actually. Does anyone know? Can you use a smaller parachute? We could kind of test that out, but that's honestly beside the point. We can just slap a bigger one, because who cares? No. I care. That is way too big. I think if we put like a couple of drogue chutes, then we definitely will hit the required parachute ness. There's just one problem. They're way too big. Okay, let's keep it with a small chute for now. What's happening? I'm trying to design a weird, cheap spacecraft thing. I'm trying to be cheapskate. Unga Bunga Small 2. This is like the V2, Type 2, that I'm trying to make for the escape capsule for the main craft, which is going to be the small return thingy that I can deploy to cheaply deorbit people that I really don't want in orbit anymore. So, regarding the Delta V requirements of this thing, they're tiny. They're like 300 meters per second maximum, because even if I am in low Mon orbit, all I have to do is just make a tiny little maneuver that's gonna put me on an escape trajectory of Mon's orbit. And then, because Mon is going one way and I can like deorbit the other way, my velocity is going to be lower and I'm just going to fall straight back down to Kerbin. TLDR, I don't really need all that much Delta V. And let's see, if I'm going to be using these external tanks, how much do I need? I think we can go with these longer ones. I think they're way too big, but we can scale them down. I just like that they're, like, thin. Maybe that'll look okay. And for the engines themselves, we can use something like the Ant. We know this is going to be used in space, because return capsule. So I don't really have to worry too much about, like, at sea level thrust or ISP. We can use the most efficient engine for space specifically. And now I'm gonna go into absolute mode. Actually, no, I'm gonna like line it up like this, and just once it's sort of pointing down, I'm gonna switch to absolute. I'm gonna click on it a little bit and just make sure it's perfectly aligned, looking down. Why doesn't it want to cooperate with me? Could you, like, not? What's going on? I was trying to make this a tutorial moment on how to make it so that your engines align down, but it just decided that it does not want to cooperate with me. Who cares? I don't care. Let's put these and let's use the regular rotate mode. Because I don't know, it's just weird. It doesn't want to cooperate with me whatsoever. Okay, let's just kind of line it up, sort of straight down. Just like that. And position them so that they're closer to the center. Just gotta make sure that they're not gonna be interacting with the lower part here. But I think this looks fine-ish. Kind of good enough. I might turn them a little bit to the sides just to make sure that I'm definitely not gonna have the weird effect where one of the engines is just kind of interacting with the craft itself and you're not flying anywhere. We're still gonna have to test that though. And so right now we can see we have 900 meters per second of Delta V. Way too much. Obviously we need to scale these down. Let's see just how much we can scale them down. So we can go, like I said, our target is around 300 meters per second of Delta V. Maybe a little higher just for caution. And this is roughly what we can do at like 350. This seems kind of good. Yeah, I think we can use something like this. This should be good enough. There's just one problem. I absolutely hate how it looks with the the fuel tanks, the long ones. I don't know. Just doesn't look right, in my opinion. Kind of want to do it differently, but I'm not sure the circular tanks will be any better. Alright, let's keep it that way. And when it comes to like telemetry and stuff, we can actually put a small probe core here, just so that the re-entry capsule is controllable by MechJap, primarily because who told you that it's going to be returning pilots? Necessarily might not be. And also let's put a small antenna. Again, we are going to be in space, so it doesn't have to be, it can be a deployable antenna, just a small one right here, and maybe just a couple of drogue chutes. Probably not really required, but, you know, we still have some space for, they're expensive. How much do they cost? No, 150, way too expensive. Again, we're trying to cheap out here as much as possible. So this looks kind of fine. And now we just gotta test it out. And the way I'm gonna be testing it out is obviously by strapping a booster at the bottom, min fuel, sort of, min fuel. Not gonna need all the thrust because I don't want it to go too fast up. And obviously gonna need some basic fins. Just strap a bunch of them. They're cheap. We can afford them. And this is just how I'm gonna test that it will successfully land, given the relatively small parachute. So, for the crew, literally no one, because this is just a test, and let's just check it out, see how it flies. How many people are watching the stream? Oh, 6. That's more than usual. Might have to start launching streams later. More people join, like significantly more people. Alright, so let's just give it a go. Essentially, we fire it, it flies off, some engine failed, who cares? No one cares. We stage it, and now we just see basically at what speed will it be in free fall, so that I know if it can land safely with the smaller chute here. Also, we can use up the rest of the fuel here, because why not? And, oh, by the way, partially the reason why I have, like, specifically 4 is, in this particular case, when one of the engines has failed, I can, like, theoretically shut down the engine on the other side, and I still have some thrust going on, which is good for making the astronauts not get stuck. And it landed at 8 meters per second, which is a little fast, but, I mean, it didn't crash, so that's good. I wouldn't want it to land on a mountain, though, because they'd probably not enjoy that, but overall, I think this is fine. We can test it, maybe, like, see how we can put some radial chutes. So, another possibility is, instead of this chute right here, we could also try putting yada yada yada, these 2 radial mount chutes somewhere here, kind of like this. The problem is that, again, it is expensive. Very expensive. The chutes are surprisingly expensive. So no, let's just use one. Again, so this is going to be our escape capsule. You may notice one problem. It doesn't have RCS. And I kind of need RCS for it to be possible to redock it somewhere. Also doesn't have a docking port, by the way. we are gonna need a docking port, and that's gonna reduce our delta V a little bit. Not so much, by the way. Still kind of fine. But yeah, definitely want a docking port just so that I can, well, dock it to space station and such. And also, do I have monoprop in this thing? The answer is no. No, I do not have any monopropellant. That's a problem, because I'm also going to need some more tanks with monoprop. We can use the small mini tanks. Honestly, we could probably get away with just using, like, literally one, maybe two of these smaller tanks. Okay, let's put them there. Shove them a little deeper. Alright, and then I'm gonna use some of these smaller thruster blocks, the cheaper ones, and just put 4 of them. Let's try to see where our center of mass is and just place them around the center of mass, so that it's just easier to control. And the purpose of all of this is just so that I can undock it, move it to a different location, just so that I can reorganize my crafts as I please. Because, for example, the first craft that I'm going to be launching, I'm going to leave 2 or 3 of these just sticking at the Aurora station, just so that I can always deorbit crew from there if I ever feel the need to do so. And this actually looks really nice, because this entire thing, which can safely deorbit 3 astronauts, or Kerbals, and it weighs a whopping 2.4 tons, whereas my initial design idea, using the normal capsule, just itself with, like, the heat shield, even without the heat shield, already weighs more. So, this design, absolute trash. Who needs a capsule when you can have the pomegranate thingy? Because this entire thing just weighs less than a single crew capsule. Way more efficient. Also kind of cheap at only 8,000 for a re-entry of 3 astronauts. That is acceptable. It's still kind of expensive, but most of the costs go from the Octo, but that's sort of a requirement. I might actually, you know what? That's a requirement if someone in the crew doesn't really have, is not a pilot. In that case, it is a requirement. If one of the crew is a pilot, then no, not really, because they will give me normal SAS. So, because again, the goal is to be extra cheap, I could theoretically have some of these re-entry capsules be equipped with the Octo and the antenna and all the good stuff, and others being the extra cheap version that don't have those. But honestly, if we're gonna be landing near the KC, we're gonna get back some of this cost. So that will make it cheaper, but I think we can save more on child labor, so this is just not significant savings for me to really consider it. And again, the overall delta V is around 300 meters per second, which is enough to get from Mun's orbit, definitely enough to get from Minmus orbit. So I think this is the final design that I'm going to be using. Maybe just like a little bit more fuel. Oh no, I don't need more fuel because I can also use the RCS thrusters as my first stage, sort of. Okay, yeah, this looks pretty good. It has some redundancy in it, and it will not... Why is the Kerbals mod not working again? It doesn't want to show me how long the crew can survive there. The window just doesn't want to open for reasons. Oh well, who cares? I think it's gonna be fine. So let's design the rest of the craft. Like I said, we can just put a bunch of these on top of each other, but you might notice a bit of a problem. It can't do that. Like, I can't stack them on top, which is a pretty annoying little feature, to be completely honest with you. It is quite annoying. Can't really, like, stack multiple of them here. And so this begs the question of how are we going to solve this huge issue, which is pretty huge. Well, again, in this particular case, I guess we're going with the stack them on the side design solution thing, approach, something. Okay, you know what? I have a crazy idea. What if I use the pressurized crew tube? I don't know which one I need. Yeah, this sounds good enough. And it's going to be a smaller diameter with a bunch of the docking ports on the sides, just like that. And the crew capsules are going to be attached to it. And that way, the overall diameter is reduced, sort of. Not quite enough for it to be comfortable, but still, a little bit. We can probably try to push them in just a little bit to reduce a little bit more space. But yeah, this will obviously use way less space compared to just sticking them on a 2.5 diameter meter part. And we can also try to align them like so that they're kind of in the middle of the crew tube. Again, just push them in a little bit. Okay, this looks good enough. And I can have multiple of these, theoretically. Again, it's just that returning astronauts from orbit is a very typical task. And by launching a single craft like this, I will ensure that I have a bazillion of re-entry capsules. And then if I need to return one crew, or 2 or 3 or 10, I can always just launch a couple of these back to re-enter. And that should save up on costs significantly. Okay, so this is going to be roughly the design. It obviously, like, everything does not work correctly. Okay, let's put all of this into the big stage with all of the re-entry pods. Okay, so regarding the actual delta V, right now it's showing 137 meters per second of delta V. I don't think it's calculating that correctly. Something has gone terribly wrong. Why is it lying to me? What is going on? Alright, so it doesn't want to cooperate with me for reasons, I guess. Might be with the stagings. What if I put these as like a separate stage? Will that help you? Okay, so it shows around 3.5 kilometers per second of delta V, which doesn't really make sense. Oh, it's because after I've fired those off, that's the delta V that the craft will have. Wildly inaccurate. KSP just completely not cooperating with me. Yeah, I know the problem is like staging, but it wants me to fire these engines, then detach them, then fire the last one. And I want to fire the engine first, but not detach them. It's like, I think, what is going on? I want to reroute it. Oh, wait. Yeah, it's just, it's considering these things as kind of a different stage. I know how to fix that. I have an idea. I'm just gonna disable staging for all of these ports, right? Just decoupler, disable staging. I'm just gonna disable all of these stagings, and then it's not gonna do that, right? Right? And it's still showing the staging, even though I disabled it. KSP, why do you have to be... Well, KSP. Alright. So, here's what you do. Dear children, this is what you do when KSP doesn't want to cooperate with you. So we have this design, right? And KSP is being an absolute... I can't cuss, but it's not being particularly cooperative. So, what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna note the mass of the stage. It has 23 tons. Incredible. Then, I'm gonna take a fuel tank, and maybe another fuel tank, and I'm just gonna match the weight till it's like 23 tons, and then this is going to represent the entire craft with all of that, and I can continue the build as if it's like a normal build. Once I'm ready, I'll just remove this part, replace it with the actual payload that I'm gonna have. And I can already notice the problem that I only have 1700 meters per second of delta V. That's not a lot. Again, I will be leaving some of these crew capsules around different stations here and there, but it's still not a ton. It's basically one-way trip to low Mun orbit. Not a ton. But honestly, I don't know. This is like a re-entry probe carrier. It needs to get to place A, and that's kind of it. Also, we do kind of have a lot of fuel just generally sticking around different stations and such. So maybe this is not as big of a problem as I think it is. Maybe we can leave it like this. It's just that if I'm going to be adding more fuel tanks, I don't think it's going to be particularly productive. By this point, I'm starting to get diminishing returns, I think. What's the weight of the craft here? So this is like 23 tons the payload, and with the fuel, it's like 47, and with 2 fuel tanks, like 40. So I'm already at like 50% of my like entire craft being the fuel, all of the fuel, the engines, and all that good stuff. That's kind of... Oh, wait a second. I completely forgot about electricity. It just occurred to me. I was like thinking also about the part count for this craft and just how heavy it's going to be overall. And I just remembered that I completely disregarded that I also need some solar panels on this thing. So let's add those. Obviously, we barely have any electric consumption on this. And, but yeah, the problem is that the electric panels are kind of expensive. So, in order to reduce our costs, I'm just gonna, like, put, I don't know, how do I go about this? I can put, like, 2 solar panels like this, essentially, here and here, and just rotate the craft itself, to use the correct solar panel, something like that. Well, in that case, I might as well just use one. Okay, we're gonna have just a single solar panel. I'm gonna rotate the entire craft for it to face towards the sun if I need electricity. Sounds like a very robust design. What could possibly go wrong? Safest design ever. Okay, so solar panel concern fixed. I actually have a checklist somewhere of like things I need to check before launching things. But I don't remember where it is, and I'm not going to be wasting time trying to find it on stream. So, forget about it. With this stage, again, 1700 looks a little on the low side. Maybe we can... Like, what's the difference between these two? This one is 40 tons. This one, probably not that much bigger. It's 47 tons. I think, like, 7 extra tons is fine for the added flexibility. Again, all of the excess fuel that we'll have, I'm just going to be leaving in further and further stations. I don't really need to leave fuel around Minmus though, because as soon as I get mining equipment, Minmus will actually be a source of excess fuel. With that out of, actually thinking in that regard, maybe like 1700 is... Okay, you know what, let's do 1700. And we also have to think about like general resources and electric production for this part of the craft. So let's do that, and once we're done with that, we'll again reevaluate, maybe add a third tank, maybe not, and just in general see what about the lower stages, how those are going to be looking. Speaking of, actually, you know what, let's add a small compartment here. I want to add some electric panels here. Yada yada yada. So this is going to be a spacecraft that's going to be flying in space. So we don't really need to close solar panels normally. But because I'm going to be docking it to different space stations and such, might be a useful feature. Also, how much electricity do we need? So each of these hydrogen tanks is going to be consuming 0.8 electric charge per second. So Kerbalism suddenly working again. These solar panels are going to be generating around 5.62, which is way more than we actually need. Seems fine. We can use like 4 panels just somewhere here at the base. And then we also gonna need some storage for our electricity. I'm just gonna shove a bunch of these. That's 2,000 units. We're gonna be using, I'm gonna round it up, 2 units of electricity per second. So that's going to be 1,000 seconds, and 1,000 seconds is good enough for like Mon orbit and such. I think it's going to be fine. I think in terms of electric consumption, this is good enough. Worst case scenario, we'll just shut the engines down or just shut down primary functions like life support. Sorry guys, you didn't pay for life supports in your tickets. Alright, let's just put these slightly deeper into the I don't know, the base of the fuel tank here, so that it just kind of looks a little flushed. Right. Let's try to build the lower stages. So for the lower stages, this is, I'm assuming that this is what has to be put into low carbon orbit by whatever engine assembly it is that I'm using. I also know that I want to make the lower stage as cheap as possible. Again, extreme emphasis on making it cheap, and then some more cheap. So for the mid stage, I'm probably going to be using the Poodle liquid fuel engine combined with just a normal fuel tank. That should give me in vacuum around 1 kilometer per second of delta V, but it's not enough thrust to weight ratio. For the mid stage, I will require at least like 0.8 thrust to weight ratio, so this is not enough. Well, actually the fuel tank is fine, the engine is what is the problem. So what else can we use? This engine is around 250 kilonewtons, and so I need pretty much double that, right? So I need like 0.8. So we're looking at around 500 kilonewtons of oomph. And actually the skipper looks kind of nice. A very good engine for like mid-stage. Has a very good thrust-to-weight ratio. Actually, if we're gonna be using skipper, it's a pretty hefty engine. In that case, we can just design our middle stage to work around said engine with like decent thrust, and this gives us 1600 meters per second of delta V. So we need around, well, basically double that to get into orbit. You need around 3400-ish, depends on your ascent profile. But yeah, this is fine for our mid stage, and for our lower stage, I mean, we can just invest, buy one of these bad boys, mega super ooper duper big fat engine assembly thing. There's just one problem. It's already way too heavy, and that is in fact a pretty big problem. So instead of doing that, you know what? What's the thrust to weight ratio on our upper stage? Should be good, right? Our upper stage already has, like, in vacuum, thrust to weight ratio of like 1. So because we are already launching a bunch of these missions, and every single one of my crafts is designed to like dock to the Aurora space station around Kerbin, in low Kerbin orbit, leave a bunch of fuel there before it goes to other destinations. We actually have like completely full tanks there. They're absolutely full to the brim, so we can just use those, and that could mean very significant savings if we just do something like this. This is 3500 meters per second of delta V, so we're using the lower stage to get us most of the way to orbit, and then using the rest here with the liquid hydrogen to get us to orbit, then just dock to space station, get all the fuel back, and this would significantly reduce our costs, especially given the fact that I want to finally design this craft in a way that I'll just keep reusing it long after I've researched more sophisticated technologies. I'm still gonna like continue using it as just a quick way to get a bunch of re-entry pods into orbit, because again, entry pods, not particularly sophisticated technology there. Doesn't have to be interesting until we get to significantly more advanced tech where there is a possibility for improvement, but for now this is fine. There's just one problem. Using a solid rocket motor for the lower stage is a good idea right up until it's not. The reason for that is because if I look at my thrust to weight ratio, it's 1.5 during launch, which is perfect. Not too high, not too low. The problem is by the end it's going to be around 3, which is a little too aggressive and I can't really control it. Also, I'm obviously going to have to use the high engine quality here, and the overall delta V is around 3400 meters per second of delta V, which is just very close to the limit. So instead, what if we use liquid fuel? What if I put one of these big bad engines? This gives me significantly more delta V at pretty much the same thrust to weight ratio. Again, once we have used up most of our fuel, we're gonna end up with, like, again, around 3 thrust to weight ratio. It's just that with the liquid fuel engine, I can actually like control it, and if I see that it's way too much, I can adjust my profile way easier. And the 3700 just seems like I do want to have at least some extra just in case something goes terribly wrong. Very Kerbal rocket. Yeah, thanks. That's the best that you can hear. We could also invest in the twin bore, maybe. Has slightly more thrust. Maybe could like get us all the way to orbit. Actually, you know what? It's expensive as hell. Like, very expensive, but I want to buy it. I'm not going to be a cheapskate on this one. Because if I use this, it's just going to give me a very good launch. But it's actually not that much more expensive. Especially given the fact that it's both the engine and a pretty big fuel tank. So this assembly costs like 1,700 or 17,000. Okay, the total craft is 53,000, and with this setup, it's 55,000. So it's actually cheaper, kind of. Not really, because I'm probably gonna add another one of these tanks, just so that I have more fuel in orbit. Again, because I'm gonna be docking to the space station. If I have excess fuel, that's not a problem. I won't have excess fuel because, again, we are going to be using the upper stage to get us to basically circularize into orbit. So the extra fuel will not go to waste. I think this is fine. Our starting thrust to weight ratio is 1.7, which is very, very nice. And our total delta V... Oh, by the way, we have to look at altitude. So at altitude, it's 1.6, which is good. It's fine. It's not too much, but it's definitely very, very workable. And now I'm just gonna add a bunch of winglets here for some extra control, extra stability. Actually, what's the gimbal range on this engine? So it has a vectoring range of just 1.5 degrees, which is not a lot, but because this is a pretty powerful engine, probably will have a significant rotational moments. But no, so I was just thinking maybe I can cheap out on the winglets and put something cheaper, but they're not that much more expensive, and the extra steering capability could come in useful. Alright, so this is going to be what I'm going to be using. By the way, what's the rated ignition count on this engine? It's just 1, which is, well, fine, because I'm still going to be using all of the fuel here. Definitely not going to be using it to do the rest of the circularization. Okay, so this is kind of the design. Again, now I'm just gonna, like, once I've completed the overall design, I'm gonna replace the dumb payload that I have here, which is like the payload simulator, with the actual design that I'm gonna be using. Where is the crew tube? Okay, so we go crew tube, we put a bunch of docking ports. I'm just gonna put them in, slide them in a little bit. Now I'm just gonna go to my Unga Bunga Small. Just wanna select. God damn it! Why? What's going on? Why is like everything selected right now? Just like literally everything. Okay, let's reopen it again because I did something wrong. Again, just want to select the part here that I want to actually use. You can use the reroute tool when you're like merging a different craft and you want to attach the new craft, like the part that you want to attach it with to your primary craft is not whatever it is that like currently selected. You can use the reroute tool to select that part, and then you can attach it. For example, in this particular case, if I if I merge it again, you can see that it like wants to attach to the main body here. I obviously want to attach to the docking port, so I'm just gonna select it, and that's it. Now I can attach it with the docking port. Just a little pro tip. I'm just gonna try to find the right rotation. No, that's not it. Can I? Yeah, like that. I just wanna like align the solar panels up for no reason at all. I just kind of enjoy like slightly more symmetric design here. And then I'm gonna put another stage here. And this is gonna be my actual payload. Now, you might notice that it is extremely, and I mean extremely, unaerodynamic. So, we are gonna be putting a big fat payload here. The problem is the payload is not wide enough, even though it's like a 2.5 meter. So that's a pretty big problem that I haven't thought of. Okay, so what do we do here? Again, the problem right now is even if I like put it slightly lower, it's just not wide enough to fit in all of these big fat crew pods. So what can we do? That's right, we can try to rotate them a little bit. Get absolutely rotated. Just like that. Kind of. Looks abysmal, to be completely honest. Looks like absolute hell. But that will reduce the cross-section, kind of. Sort of. Let's see just how bad do I have to rotate them for this design to work? Like, holy hell. Basically, I have to do the absolute maximum. This is so stupid. Alright, I absolutely hate this design. I resent it. The statement that this is a very Kerbal rocket is just getting more true by the second. This is abysmal. Okay, you know what? Remember when I was telling you that there are like two schools of construction? One of them being the like vertical design, when you just kind of stack these on top of each other, and the other one being when you slam them on the side. Well, there's a third one, which is the forbidden technique. Let me show it to you. This is a design that I have used in the Anubis rocket, which I used for the movie that shall not be named because I can't get to finish it. So, here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to... I don't remember how to do it correctly, but bear with me here. I'm sure we'll figure it out. So how do I even do that? I genuinely do not remember, but I think we have to go with, well, I mean, we obviously have to use an engine plate. I'm gonna put an engine plate here. I'm going to select the engine plates, like 4 of them. Why is it, like, attaching so weirdly? Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna put a crew node here. I'm gonna select 4 attached nodes. I'm gonna put my docking ports, yada yada yada, here. Bam, let's go. Just gonna put my docking ports. I'm going to move them out a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna rotate them by 45 degrees, and then I can like easily move them outwards like that. And this looks absolutely abysmal. But what it'll allow me to do is, again, just gonna merge in my Unga Bunga Small 2. Again, perfect naming scheme. If anyone disagrees, leave immediately. And I'm gonna put 4 of these bad boys right here. I'm gonna select this part, just move it out until they don't intersect so that no one claims that I'm cheating. A little more. Just like that. Perfect. No, actually, you know what? I don't actually need this at all, actually, by the way. I can just use these ones to detach. And so here's... God, Jesus Christ, this is such a weird design. Yeah, again, I'm gonna put them slightly away. Because this is a docking port, I can still detach it. Even though it like doesn't have the coupler there, it can still be detached. Alright, and so now I'm just gonna, after I've moved them out, I'm gonna rotate them again so that they're not like intersecting here. Maybe we can move them even a little bit more closely. Just like that. Very, very close. No, okay, I think this is just a little too... God damn it. I think this is a little too close. Let's move them out a little bit. I'm just gonna use a little bit more space. But yeah, okay, so TLDR, we have set up this engine plate here, which has our 4 nodes, and as you can see, it is significantly thinner than if I'm like doing this design approach. There's just one problem. It is ugly as hell. But who cares? The main point is that it works. It just works. And now I'm just gonna select the appropriate length, which is probably gonna be like medium long, just like this, for my fairing. And then I'm gonna put stack separator here, like this. Why stack separator? I don't remember, but I just know that I have to use a stack separator here. And I am going to put all of this right here, right at the top. And now I'm just gonna cover it with the actual fairing, which, as you can see, is wide enough for this to work. Again, the design is absolutely abysmal, but, I mean, that's what we have to work with. And so what I'm gonna do... Jesus bloody hell, can you please attach? So what I'm gonna do is, once I am successfully in orbit, I'm just gonna detach this thing. I'm gonna take the 4 crew capsules here, attach them to the main body of the ship, and that will require a little bit of interaction, let's call it like that. But it will achieve the primary goal of attaching them to the main body. There's just one problem. Again, this is just one of these blocks, and I'm gonna need 2 of them. Let's put a second one here. I think we... By the way, we can actually, like, the engine plate itself, it also has staging. But... you know what, I'm gonna put more stack separators there. The more the merrier. This is... Like, I just don't want to experiment too much with it. So let's keep it like this. And in terms of the width, I think this is roughly how wide we need it to be. Roughly like this. And yeah, there we go. So we have this huge bulb at the top, which is something that we're gonna like completely detach once we are in orbit, and rearrange the crafts to put them on this part here. Which, by the way... Oh my god, this part also needs... This part also needs the Airstream. Right? Right. I think yeah, we kind of have to use another part here. I am afraid so. Oh my god, this is such a weird design. This is like... I wanted to start the series as like, oh, look guys, this is how you design a proper craft. and like by the end, this is absolutely diabolical level of well, whatever this is. Okay, you know what? We can actually like rotate it like this. Haha! This is slightly better, I guess. Okay, and now I'm just gonna use the big fat Airstream protective shell. Again, just gonna make it wide-ish. Just like that. Cover all of this good stuff. Just like that. And can you, like, attach, please? Thank you. So this is gonna be our huge Airstream protective shell. And our total mass for this abomination is 26 tons. Which is more than the 23 tons of our dummy that we were using for Delta V testing. But remember when I said that we have a little bit of leeway? That's what it was for. What is this thing? This is an abomination. That's what it is. There's just one problem. It's too tall. Of course it has to be too tall because this is what happens every single time I try to design an interesting craft. Like, always there's something that goes terribly wrong. Complete mayhem. But okay, you know what? Let's fix staging first. Can I find the right staging? Okay. Can I find the right engine? Okay. So, I fixed it. Oh, by the way, now, all of a sudden, the staging works correctly. We can actually see our total Delta V is 3,700, which is fine. Again, just one problem. It's way too tall. And so the way we can solve that is solution number 1, cheating. Solution number 2, which is what we are going to be using. Excuse me? Where is my craft? Do you mind? Can I get my craft back? Thank you, please. As I was saying, we're not going to be using cheating. I'm just gonna put, instead of these fuel tanks there, I'm just gonna put the fuel tanks on the sides. I'm just gonna probably use like 1.8 meter. Is that what I have to use? Yeah, that's what I have to use. I mean, we can probably put the 1.2 meter ones, just put more of them. Because we're gonna need the caps anyway. And with that, it's kind of there-ish. Yeah, just like this. This is gonna be our design. I think it looks absolutely adorable. If you disagree, then please don't. I already have enough issues with this craft. Alright, so this is gonna be our design. We have our lower stage, which is the big fat engine. And then we have the upper stage design, which is something. But we're not done yet. We're still not done. And the reason why we're not done, because again, we're playing Kerbalism, so we have to address the... We've already addressed the electricity, but we also want to put some more fuel tanks here, and we can put them at the main body here. We have a little bit space between the docking ports, and we can put some. We can put some monopropellant tanks there. We have these multi-purpose tanks which fit absolutely perfectly right there. Very nice. Love it. And we're just gonna fill them with monoprop. By the way, monoprop is something that I do not have a lot of. Is usually something that I've failed to like refuel my stations with properly. So this is just gonna be very convenient for us to have more of it. Again, our delta V is a little low. It's just a little lower than I would like it to be. Essentially, our 1500 meters per second there is just not quite there. The problem is, like, I can't really add another tank here because, well, if I do even a shorter one... Oh no, it'll actually fit. You know what? Let's do this design. This, well, I'm just gonna put it in the middle so that it looks slightly more symmetrical. This is gonna be our design. Then we're also gonna think a little bit about, like, food and stuff. So for that, I'm just gonna put a bunch of small containers here. Essentially, I'm just gonna put one container here, one container. Actually, you know what? Let's keep it like let's put it here. Let's just put it here. One container here. Food, like that. Food plus water. And then one container of, Jesus, not this one, the smaller ones, just oxygen. Alright, so we have our oxygen, we have our food plus water. That seems good enough. Alright, also, I want to disable food, water, oxygen, nitrogen. Don't want to use that from the capsules. Preferably want to use that from the main reserves. The reason is obvious. I'll have to refuel them all the time otherwise, which is just going to be extremely annoying to do. So let's just disable that. And shielding, in terms of shielding, not going to bother for this particular case. Just not worth it, to be completely honest. And already, by the way, we just don't really have enough of anything for shielding, really. We're already at our peak mass here, pretty much. Just gonna put some more tanks here of nitrogen. Just so that we can restore our atmosphere. And with that out of the way, actually, you know what? What's our... Oh, and the menu suddenly doesn't work again. Would you look at that? How convenient. Precisely when I want to check it, it doesn't work. And when I don't really need to check it, it works. Case B, I absolutely adore you. But with that out of the way, I think this is kind of the design that I'm gonna be using, and it's time to check it out. Are you crazy enough to check it out? Are we good enough? Are we go? Are we a go? I'm just trying to figure out whether I want to test it with like an actual Kerbal, or because technically it can be launched automatically. I could try to launch it with just, like, not a manned mission. But I think let's test it with Kerbals. Let's test it with Kerbals. And, we also have this, like, contract that we have to return. A bunch of Kerbals here. We have to return Valentina, and we have to return, Zeldin. But where is he? I don't actually know. I think he's probably on the Aurora station. Maybe. Maybe not. But we definitely have to return Valentina. And so let's let her be one of the astronauts that's going to be launching. With this one, let's put her in the Mark 125 command pod, which is like here, so that she can escape if the entire launch goes terribly wrong. Now, before we launch, I also want to check again with our thrust to weight ratio, which is like starting at 1.5, which is pretty good, pretty respectable. But our end thrust to weight ratio is probably not going to be particularly high. especially for the upper stage. So I probably want to use a more aggressive ascent profile, just going up more, just to make it slightly more safe. Okay, you know what? Let's launch this thing. Let's give it a shot. Holy hell, is it ugly. But it is cheap. Well, it's actually not cheap. It's like 135,000, but it's gonna give me 8 return capsules, which is a lot. So yeah, let's go for launch, finally. Holy hell, is this ugly. One of the ugliest designs that I've ever built. And this is when I was trying to show you guys how to build something interesting. And this is what I come up with. This is what happens when you don't stage the stream. This is what happens. For some reason, the vertical stream is just getting literally 0 views. Just weird, but sure. Yeah, whatever. All right, let's launch this bad boy. So, I'm still gonna be using MagJab, especially for this design, because it's way too weird for me to guide it manually. Alright, so we want to get to 75 kilometers, which is where the Aurora is. We have to dock to it to get refueled. So our ascent path is, I want to start turning at, like, let's say 75 meters per second and 1 kilometer heights. In our turn shape, the standard is 40, and I think this is what I need for this launch, because again, we don't really have a high thrust to weight ratio on our second stage. And other than that, no auto staging, please. Auto deploy solar panels, yeah, sure, whatever. No auto warp, no thank you. And I think we're kind of good to go. Oh, by the way, let me put the staging for the Airstream Protective Shell as like a separate group. Actually, before I launch it, let me just return to vehicle assembly. I'll just put it as a separate group in the assembly bay, just so that I don't forget it to do it later, and I won't have to do this every single time because it just gets annoying. Other than that, we can also create a separate stage for these things here. Yeah, okay, just so that it like all detaches there once we're already in space, and all of this can be just a single group there. All right, so staging confirmed. Okay, let's just quickly go over it. Staging, check. Electricity, check. Food and water, check. Networking. I want to have like some antenna for the main craft itself. I don't need anything powerful, just a small, like 2 small antennas here. I think we'll just do the trick. Just like that. Maybe it'll help to relay the signal, but primarily just to connect to mission control. And let's point the other antenna at mission control as well. Alright, and with that out of the way, let's launch this absolute monster of a vehicle. Okay, we are go for launch. Is it reusable? What do you think? No. No, it is not. Well, I mean, it's not reusable, but the good part is that it just has so many probes that, well, not probes, return vehicles, that I'm just gonna launch it like once. It's like, it's not reusable, but it has like multiple uses within it. So, still not too bad. Alright, I think everything is good for launch. Let's enable autopilot. Let's just hope this will work. Alright. Let's go for launch. And we are go. We have liftoff. I mean, this looks funky. I don't know why, but it kind of reminds me of the like Soviet Proton style rockets. I don't know why. Maybe it's like the lower part here, kind of reminiscent a little bit. But okay, we are accelerating. I've just realized that maybe 40% was not enough because our lower stage has just 1500 meters per second of delta V, which is not a lot because our upper stage has very poor in-atmosphere performance because, well, it's tuned for space. And that's a problem. There's a problem because if we don't reach high enough, our lower stage engines is going to be extremely inefficient, and we not going to get to orbit with it. But for now, it actually seems fine. I think we're going to get high enough because we're already at like 15 kilometers, and we still have used like only half of our delta V from the lower stage. I think it's gonna be fine. What could possibly go wrong? This is like the perfect design ever. Okay, so let's get ready to stage it. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna enable auto stage. I want to be a little bit more conservative. Let's pop it. I was actually really afraid that it's just gonna turn around here. This is something that I completely forgot about just designing. Oh, I remember what I forgot about. Yeah, I completely forgot about orientation. I didn't put any additional orientation module. I didn't put RCS on like the main body itself. That's gonna be a bit of a problem to dock, especially. But I mean, we have so many crew capsules that we're gonna use those. Alright, so once we get to 50 kilometers, I think I'm just gonna pop the staging here on our Airstream protective shell. Let's get to 55. It's just that the pomegranates pods that we're using for re-entry here, they are extremely draggy. And that's the reason why I just want to pop that slightly later. But actually, our ascent path is looking very good. Right now, we're like accelerating horizontally. Very nice. I actually kind of like. I think 40% was the perfect number to use there. Okay, let's pop the Airstream protective shell. It all flies off. This looks just as abysmal as it was. Oh my god, it's wobbling. It's wobbling. What do I do? What do I do? Parts. Autostrad. Ah! It's already autostraded. God damn it. Autostrad. Heaviest parts. Okay, that kind of solved the trick, almost. Alright, so let's disable autopilot here, just for a second. I'm going to use RCS here a little bit to just bring my apoapsis up. It didn't do anything. Well, I mean, these are kind of small thruster blocks, so maybe that's why. Okay, let's make a short burn here, just to make sure that we're definitely, surely, for real, not going to be wasting our ignition cycles. Let's re-engage the autopilot. It will create the circularization burn here. Oh, and I also forgot to launch so that we're going to be docking to Aurora within a couple of orbits. Unfortunately, we're going to have to do multiple passes. That's annoying, but this is what happens when I don't thing at all, essentially. Again, it's 2:30, like 2:30, just for me, and it's nighttime, so I'm not thinking too well. So bear with me, please do so. But once we circularize, we're still gonna waste a bunch of time just trying to like redock all of the modules. So we'll have funsies to have. I've just now realized that it's actually very, very convenient that we have probe controls on each one of these. Because we're gonna have to, well, redock them to the main body, and that would be impossible to do if we didn't have probe control on them. I've also noted, oh my god, there's also a big problem. Okay, so the problem is that I don't have any omnidirectional antennas on the main body of the spacecraft, and we don't have any connection to satellites because the smaller antennas on these kind of rely on the fact that there's going to be a relay satellite pointing specifically at them, and that would be done by the main body, the main spacecraft. There's just one problem: it doesn't have an omnidirectional antenna, and two of these, I don't want to like point one antenna at like every single probe every single time. This is gonna be super duper annoying. But that's what happens when you don't plan your crafts all that much. Okay, you know what? Let's get close to the Aurora because it does have powerful antennas on it. And we'll figure it out there once we actually get there. I think it's gonna be fine. All right. So let's select our Aurora as a target, and I'm just gonna burn a little bit essentially to just raise my apoapsis to about 150 kilometers, maybe a little higher. Let's do 200. Let's do 200, and we'll just make a couple of these rotations to rendezvous with Aurora. Side note, we only have 5 ignitions left. It's not a whole lot, so I'm just gonna force Dear Valentina to go and service the engine just so that we are certain that it is in pristine condition, because otherwise there's a decent chance that something's gonna fail. And if that engine fails, the entire spacecraft becomes a big fat wreck. At least it has pretty much all the escape pods. Essentially, how many escape pods do you have? All of them. Okay, so let's try the... Oh, wait, I can't do the redocking thingy because I don't have proper probe control. Alright, let's wait till we get closer to Aurora. Let's wait till we get to docking. We get one orbit, we get the other orbit. By the way, I missed my chance to properly align these. MegJap, please help me. Maneuver planner, fine-tune closest approach to targets. 0 meters, create and execute nodes. Okay, not to worry, MegJap will do everything. It's very, very nice of him to save the situation and create a maneuver node so that we will intersect our targets as close as possible. Could you, like, turn, please? What if I use RCS? Will that make it better or worse? Okay, it's kind of completing the burn here. Not very accurate. Not accurate at all, to be completely honest. But, you know what? Intersect 1.6 kilometers. Sounds good enough. Please download TVC. gonna... What is TVC? I don't know what that is. What is that? Can you tell me more about what that does? Because I genuinely don't know. Okay, Jesus Christ, can you stop wobbling so hard? Like, why is it just wobbling so bad? What if I autostrut the engine to the root parts? I can't do that for some reason. And the tank is already autostrutted to the root part. Still doesn't help. Still wobbles like crazy. By the way, am I commanding from here? Can I select... Where's the button to control from here? Why doesn't it, like, show anywhere? Am I blind? I'm blind. Yeah, okay, control from here. No, we're controlling from the main pod, so I don't know why it's behaving so weirdly. Either way, let's try to align our intersect here. I'm just gonna try to use RCS to get us a little bit closer, because this is a pretty heavy craft. It's hard to control it, and I want to get as close as possible, especially given the fact that we have tons of monoprop fuel. So it's fine to use it to get a slightly more precise intercept if we can. And by the looks of it, we can get slightly more precise. The problem is that, again, I forgot to put the thrusters on the main body. So this is taking absolutely forever. Jesus Christ, this is so bad. Okay, we're not gonna get any closer than that, so let's just, let's deal with it. Okay, let's point target relative velocity minus. Let's time warp till we get slightly closer. By the way, right now, we actually have around 8 minutes, and we're already near Aurora, so maybe we can do whatever it is that we want to do now. But honestly, even though we have like 8 minutes, I don't want to risk it. This is not the case. And I'm not a coward. I'm just being practical because look at this thing. Alright, let's turn to relative velocity minus, just prepare ourselves for the inevitable. Okay, you know what? I didn't want to do this, but let's put autostrut on these bad boys because it's wobbling way too hard. And just a single autostrut on one of these Ranger models just basically solved all the wobbling. Magic. True volumetric clouds. Okay. Okay, this is, I know what it adds, but, it's gonna be a hot take, but I personally don't like volumetric clouds. Partly because I just don't like clouds at all. I don't like bad weather, essentially. Any type of it. So I just don't want to add that. But either way, we are trying to rendezvous here, and the problem is that we're going way too fast right now. And I'm actually like trying to get myself closer to the target by using the engine here. There's just one problem. We are spinning out of control. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna address that again. I'll tell a bit more once I'm like pointing in the right direction, because I'm like flying away very frantically. Okay, let's point towards targets and just make a small engine burn here. Just put myself back towards the target. Alright. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna select kill rotation because this craft is very weird and I just want to have some manual control. Just do this a bit more precisely because this is like not looking particularly great. Okay, I've put myself on sort of an intercept course at a lower relative velocity. Let's turn around and try to do this. Okay, sorry, as I was talking, I don't really like clouds in general because my childhood was in Moscow, and it's not famous for good weather. It's like basically every single winter you have this cloud cover, absolutely permanent clouds all the time. So I just came to hate clouds in general. I just really resent them. And that's the reason why I don't really care for mods like true volumetric clouds. Because, yeah, they make the clouds more beautiful, the thing that I never really want to see anyway. And definitely don't want to see bad weather. So, yeah, just don't really care for that. Okay, I've enabled RCS here a little bit to help me rotate slightly faster because, yeah, this is not looking particularly great. We're still kind of missing the aurora. I'm just trying to put myself on a slightly more accurate intercept course. The problem is, like, yeah, I can't really use RCS at all, essentially, which is very annoying. Very, very annoying, because the RCS is just so weak. But I guess it's going to be capable of stopping like 4 meters per second. Please tell me it's capable of that. Okay, I'm just going to disable the engine here. Primarily so that I don't accidentally slam it. And I'm going to use my RCS as the primary engine. I'm going to get close. And then I'm going to try to do the everything with the pods here. Once I stop near Aurora, I'm sure that I'm not drifting anywhere. That's when we can start doing this whole exercise. I'm still not sure if this will like actually work and it won't just completely explode as soon as I stage it. It's like experimental, very, very experimental. Okay, so we have almost stopped. I'm just gonna select RCS, not balancer. Where is it? Smart RCS, 0 relative velocity to target. Now we have officially stopped. Okay, now I can disable RCS. I'm just gonna point myself prograde, retrograde, doesn't really matter. Let's do retrograde, it's closer. The reason why I want to point myself retrograde is because when I'm going to be staging all of this, there's a decent chance that I'm going to either gain or lose some velocity in the prograde direction. And yeah, if it's going to explode, then I'll definitely gain some velocity. And I just don't want to ram the Aurora station because it's expensive, you know. Alright. Let's press the button. I mean, I kind of want a quick save, but I just know that quick save won't help me either way. What I do want is I want to fold the solar panels. Oh, and the other thing that I forgot to do is just select the action sets to toggle the solar panels, but whatever. It's just that I use 9 as my standard key to fold all of the solar panels or unfold all of them. 9 is solar, 8 is antennas, and 7 is thermal. 0 is usually for like payload. These are my like standard controls, which are the same across all the crafts, so that whatever craft I'm on, I can like fold all of the solar panels. Very convenient. Good to use that. Okay, let's stop stalling and press the magic button. Holy... Well, something happened. Okay, we are flying away from Aurora way too fast. Let's select 0 relative velocity, try to stop here. I don't know what happens. I don't know why we flew off so fast. But let's try to stop. There's another problem right now. That problem being the fact that the primary body here is also flying away, and it, unlike that part, doesn't have RCS control pretty much any of it. So unfortunately I have to activate the engine and try to reduce my burn like that, which is very, very unfortunate. But okay, this is going terribly wrong. Terribly, terribly wrong. Okay, so with this thing, we have kind of sort of stopped. But we're too far. We're a little too far. So I'm just gonna select. I'm gonna say command, control from here. Okay, turn RCS off. I'm just gonna point towards the targets. Why doesn't it rotate? Oh, it only has RCS controls. Oh, that's inconvenient. How much mono... Oh, and we don't have a lot of monoprop. What a nice craft. I'm sure I'm gonna continue using this design for future missions. Trust me, bro. Definitely gonna continue using it for sure. Okay, not gonna waste monoprop to force roll there. Definitely not required. Okay, let's try to do the entire thing when we undock each of these modules. Alright, from the main body here. And then we're gonna have to dock each and every one of them, which sounds interesting. That's what it is. Alright. Okay. Oh, and we also launched this part towards the Aurora Station. Absolutely marvelous. Okay, so I actually want to fly towards Ungabunga there. So let's select one of these. Let's select that as target. Let's point towards targets. Force roll, enable RCS. Why is it turning away? What's going on? Why is it so bad? What is going on? What's happening? I don't understand it. Okay, yeah, sure. This is so stupid. This is like one of the worst designs I've ever made. Overall. I mean, the design is sort of fine. It's just that, I wasn't expecting for it to, like, explode nearly as much there. But okay. So now, I guess we have to waste a bazillion years collecting each and every one of these pods, trying to dock it to that part over there, which is not gonna be easy to achieve. Also, why doesn't like fully turn? I don't know. It's weird. Because I completely forgot that these modules also don't really have any rotation on them. So we can only use RCS, and our RCS is balanced, which is kind of good for docking, bad for like actually like turning in space. So that's mighty inconvenient. Let's select another one of these. Let's try to point towards targets, and let's try to reorient ourselves so that we're flying towards it. This is gonna take absolutely forever. Partly just because this is taking way too long, because the thrusters themselves are very, very tiny and basically have almost no thrust. Like, they're essentially non-existent. Very annoying. Very, very annoying. But, you know, such is life. At least this this whole design is going to be useful. I'm like still betting on the fact that they will still be useful if I can like actually use them in the end. Okay, I'm gonna go through all the crafts, enable RCS on all of them, and set them all towards my targets. Because they take quite a while to turn, and I want to do this quicker-ish, sort of. Still taking absolutely forever, to be honest. Okay, point to target, please. Okay, you also can point towards targets, please. And Jesus Christ, how many of them are? This is like way too many. I know there's like 8 of them, but also this is just way too many. Oh my god, this looks like a train wreck, to be completely honest. With all of the probes just flying in every direction. Okay, so these ones are still kind of flying rather fast away. So we gotta stop them and make it so that they're flying towards our Unga Bunga primary craft. Oh my god, come on, you can do this. I'm just gonna put them on sort of a collision course, kind of. Not really, but almost. Also have to make sure that none of them actually hit Aurora, because again, expensive station, don't want to harm it. Hello there. We are... I don't even know what we're doing by this point. Like, it's hard to explain. You really have to rewatch the part of the stream where I was building this thing to understand why. Just why. It is really hard to explain. Alright, so either way, I'm just gonna point all of these, try to make them all fly towards Unga Bunga. Then I'm gonna try to dock them, all of them, to our primary module, and then we can hopefully, finally, maybe... Oh my god, we also have a problem with electric charge. I completely forgot about that. Oh no, this is so bad. This is absolutely horrible. Okay, so... we also have bad orientation on pretty much every single solar panel on these. And I don't think we have enough electric charge to complete the docking process. Okay, you know what? Normally I wouldn't do this, but for this one case, I'm gonna revert it. This was a craft that I built on the stream. This is wildly incorrect. Definitely a very poor design, primarily because it was just like way too many things I didn't account for. So, first and foremost, we have a lot of monoprop here. Sure, that's very great, but I've noticed that we were using these tanks first, which is obviously incorrect. We need the flow priority on these to be much higher so that we're using monoprop from these faster. Then, another important aspect, we obviously want proper RCS blocks on the primary, like the craft itself, so that we can perform like docking operations, that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna put a couple of these here, and yeah, that should be good enough. Okay. Next, with the probes themselves, they're fine-ish. There's just one problem. They don't have any reaction wheels. And that is a problem, unfortunately. I don't like that they are not able to turn without like using any RCS. So let's just put a small reaction wheel here. Not a big one, just something big enough to turn it a little bit. And also the idea with the photovoltaic panels that we kind of turn the entire thing to face the sun. I mean, it's a good idea in theory, but in practice we saw what happens when we try to dock like all of them at the same time. It does not work. It's very bad. So yeah, we're gonna try to avoid that and just put proper solar panels. Usually, I mean, they're kind of expensive, but we have to do it. I'll put the foldable ones so that we can recover some of the cost there. But I don't really think that this is optional in this particular case. I think we kind of have to put them here. Can I put them like on the side here? Like that. Well, I mean, it's still taking quite a bit of space. So, how do we best put them? Maybe we can put them like this. Kind of like the two ears or something. Just like that. Okay. Let's put the reaction wheel here and put these slightly higher. Just like that. Okay, this seems good enough. I think they're gonna provide me coverage from pretty much absolutely any direction. Okay, retract. And okay, so we have reaction control, we have our solar panels. These ones are fine for what they are. These are just for like docking it to the craft itself, which is fine. Also, another thing that I've noticed is that with this craft, it's... Oh my god, I deleted the lower stage. Do we have an autosave on this? Please tell me we have an autosave. Yeah, we have an autosave. Okay. Saved by the autosave. Wow, that was convenient. Can we always have that, please? Alright. So, again, gonna increase the fuel priority, gonna put the RCS, how much Delta V the rocket has? It has barely any Delta Vs, basically get to orbit, then refuel at the Aurora station, which is the station that I have in low carbon orbit. This rocket is not designed to just go to its final destination by itself. It gets to orbit, docks to the space station, gets refueled. Alright, so with that out of the way, I also don't like the fairing here. Is it possible to get rid of it? Because when it like detaches, it blows everything apart, which is minor inconvenience. Let's just call it that. So is it possible to get rid of the shrouds? Yeah, okay, let's disable the shrouds. And that way, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna like keep this thing attached, sort of, magically, just hovering in the air. Then I'm gonna take all of these probes, I'm gonna attach them to the main craft one by one, and then, and only then, will I just detach this entire thing. And it kind of floats there magically, which is a little weird, but whatever. We'll figure it out. All right. So yeah, let's just replace these with the newer design that we have. Just gonna merge it here. Select it there. Attach it to the parts ×4. And now let's do the trick. We rotate them by 45 degrees. We move them out so that they don't intersect. And then we rotate them back so that they take up just a little bit less space. Something like this. Yeah, looks fine. And, okay. I'm just gonna copy this one here. Alright. So this is roughly the design with all of the things that we have learned, which is primarily the fact that we needed to add some extra control because we had serious issues with that during the first attempt. Okay, so we fixed our CS. We have fixed reaction control there. We fixed the solar panels there. We also fixed the monoprop usage. So I think this is fine for our design. I think this is like good enough. Okay, I'm gonna add just a few more of these. This is probably overkill, but I mean, I have childhood trauma from the previous experience. Oh, and we have one part too many. Well, that's mildly annoying because I actually remembered another thing that I wanted to correct, which is a proper antenna. So I have these antennas which are good to connect to like long-range mission control and that kind of stuff, but I want near-field antennas. Something like Communicatron 16 here, just gonna pop one of these somewhere there, just to provide some extra omnidirectional antennas. And these antennas here, I mean, we could probably also replace these two antennas with something slightly smaller, something like this antenna here. I want to use something that has a good cone angle. So this one is like 22 degrees. This one 30 degrees. Oh, this one's 90 degrees. Okay, that's pretty much precisely what I'm looking for. All right. So we got our good antenna here. It's clipping way too hard. Okay, so let's rotate it a little bit. Maybe a little more, like that. Okay. Looks good enough. It's gonna look weird once deployed, actually, but whatever. Let's just point it towards mission control. And let's retract it back. Could you, like, select it, please? Oh, what the... Alright, that was weird. Retract antenna. It... it doesn't want to work. It doesn't want to retract. Okay, let's assume that it has been retracted. Alright, also remember about the action group. Wanna toggle all the solar panels. Just put that to group number 9. These ones definitely don't want to toggle that because, well, they're kind of re-entry pods. Normally they don't want to extend those solar panels unless it's like something special. We'll handle that kind of separately. Or we can actually like use a custom group, something like 1 for the solar panels to toggle them. Okay, so that kind of fine. Looks fine. Looks all right. Okay, so version number 2, Unga Bunga the upgraded. Also, let's put some launch clamps. This is just to provide the electricity during launch starts. And we still have one extra part. One extra part. How is it like we have just about enough parts, but like one too many? How is it always like that? Why is it so annoying? And I can't really find a part that I want to sacrifice. Okay, you know what? Let's put like a single one here. This is just to provide electricity when it's like on standby. Maybe we can put 2 of them. Yeah, let's put 2. Just on the sides like this. As far as the staging goes, this is all kind of okay-ish, sort of. Alright, let's just check the staging. So we pop the launch stability enhancers, we fire these engines, then we pop the stage and the second stage engine. Okay, staging check. And one final thing that I remember is that I wanna auto strut these to the heaviest part so that it doesn't wobble like crazy during launch. And with that out of the way, let's put just the Valentina on this thing. Let's try to launch again. Okay, round 2. The first time ever that reverting changes back because the first attempt was way too bad. And that's partially the reason why I was kind of staging these streams, in the sense that I was like planning them in advance, trying to design the craft so that I can still screw up when I'm like flying the craft, sure, and I will keep that in the stream if that happens. I'm not gonna revert back unless it's like something physics bug related. But in this particular case, the craft itself is poorly planned and don't want to deal with that. Okay, so let's select Aurora as our target. Well, actually, no, let's not select Aurora as a target. I think we can just like time warp sort of till it's close-ish. It's like almost above us. Something like this. Okay, this looks good enough. Alright, let's go for launch. Ascent guidance. Ascent path, everything is checked. I mean, all the parameters are the same, except I definitely do not want to deploy the solar panels because we have a lot of them on the re-entry modules, and that would definitely break them if we try to unfold them. So engage autopilot and go for launch. I mean, the part that I got correct from the first try is just generally designing the booster for this craft, and the second stage, that design I still think is pretty good, especially guessing the turn shape for MagJep Ascent Guidance, but that just comes from experience, a lot of launches, a lot of attempts, already have a bit of a feeling on how to kind of do that by the feel of it. Alright, so now we just kind of wait till it launches, and I have a little bit of a moment to check the stream that everything's running smoothly. Still no clue why the vertical stream is performing so poorly today. Very weird, but sure, whatever. YouTube has been changing quite a lot in the distribution, the algorithm itself, basically changing how it prioritizes vertical streams versus shorts content and all that kind of stuff. It went very aggressive at vertical streams. At some point, you basically get hundreds of views on pretty much any stream, just because it's a vertical stream. Good to go. I don't know why, but that was kind of their scheme for quite some time. Alright. So again, nothing really to even comment here. We're just gonna time warp through the launch here. We've already checked that everything is going on correctly, so don't really have to worry about anything. Just want to, I think on this time, I'll deploy the Airstream Protector Shell slightly later. Because even though I have more control with RCS and everything, it felt as it might flip over even at 60 kilometers. Although I think that was primarily just because it was flopping around like crazy because we didn't have enough auto struts. Where are we going? What do you got here? I've got, if you haven't seen how it looks in the vehicle bay is gonna look atrocious, but I had an idea and I'm trying to complete it. So the goal is just to create a huge craft that has a bazillion re-entry probes that we can use to return astronauts from orbit from all the different locations. Because I have a bunch of space stations and sometimes I want to return crew back to Kerbin, and I was doing that with relatively expensive crafts, and this is my attempt to just launch a single craft with like 8 return probes that will perform the function of a bus, in the sense that you can like transfer people around the system very effectively and primarily return people to Kerbin without using the more sophisticated crafts that I might want to use for something more exciting. Okay, let's definitely pop the Airstream Protective Shell by this point, and here you can see the war crime, which is the 8 pods here, just kind of hovering there in place, using all of KSP shenanigans to make this work. Okay, so we're almost in orbit. We have actually undershot in this particular case. That's a rare occurrence. That is very rare. I usually overshoot a little bit, but not in this particular case, no. So this means that I'm not gonna go for the full circularization. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to, like, almost circularize, but not quite. Okay, so I think we can just close the ascent stage here, just plan the maneuver manually, and actually, you know what? No, I'm still gonna use MagJab. It's just that instead of the typical, where is it, maneuver planner, instead of the typical circularize, I'm just gonna ask it to change my periapsis to basically 71 kilometer, like almost there, but not quite, at next apoapsis, create and execute nose. And we'll circularize like almost, but not quite, just so that we can get to Aurora. By the way, by this point we can select it as target, if it will allow me to. Thank you. Yeah, we're kind of close, but not quite there. So we're gonna have to do one orbit to get close to it. And partially, like, no one really asked, but the reason why Aurora is at like 75 kilometers instead of like 72 or like as close to Kerbin as possible is partly so that if I have a craft that's like barely missed the window, it can go into lower orbit than Aurora, instead of like having to go to higher orbit and then just waiting the entire cycle and getting just like skip in front of it just a little bit. And also because during all the docking, sometimes you might change the orbit of the space station a little and accidentally put it into deorbiting state, which is suboptimal, as you might expect. At this point, we can actually just time warp towards the node. Just let MagJab execute it automatically here. Not gonna control anything. What we can do is we can deploy the solar panels on the primary craft here. And now, once we have completed our circularization burn, we can try to create another small maneuver here and just try to align our intercept. But it doesn't seem like we're gonna get all that close. Unfortunately, we're gonna probably have to do like a couple of rotations. Even though our periapsis is pretty much as low as possible, this is just the reality of missing the launch window a little. Alright, this is not really that big of a deal. I'm just gonna make a couple of rotations, not a problem. Yeah, and the next one is pretty much the intersect. Okay. So, let's just time warp there-ish. Sounds either crazy or genius. I mean, obviously it's genius. Like, Look at me. Big brain tactics. Naturally. Alright, so we're gonna get close there, but not quite. But by this point, we have a craft that's like actually controllable-ish, so we can probably just point towards it and align the burn that way. Alright, so let's point target relative velocity minus, and okay, so we're flying there. I want to point towards the target just to get an understanding of where it actually... Okay, there it is. And so I want to point kinda towards it, but not quite. Just want to correct my burn so that I want to change the course so that I'm flying like straight at it, because right now I'm just gonna miss it. Let's enable the engine here. Just make a short corrective burn, just to align our course so that we're headed towards the Aurora space station. Just basically I want to put the prograde at the like target plus. And once I do that, I'm gonna go to the space station. Then I can rotate, wait for it to rotate for absolutely ever. Probably should have put some reaction control wheels on the main craft, but whatever. Okay, and now we can reduce our velocity, like most of it here, to like 5 meters per second, and the rest we are gonna correct with RCS, which is finally decent in this particular case. Okay, let's just put ourselves to kill rotation. Okay, align it. Target relative velocity minus. And now I'm just gonna time warp till I'm slightly closer. Basically, I'm gonna park at like 200 meters-ish away from the space station. And once I'm here, okay, let's select kill rotation, smart RCS, zero relative velocity. Just gonna park right here. Then I'm gonna connect all of these return capsules to the craft itself, jettison the weird engine plate assembly thing, whatever, and then properly dock to it. Why is it... I said zero relative velocity. What are you doing? Why are you accelerating? Could you, like, not? Okay, thank you. So, now let's do the thing. Let's undock one of these modules and select docking ports. Okay, just gonna boop myself around. Let's select target parity minus. Just basically point ourselves in the direction of the docking ports. Now I'm just gonna select the camera mode as locked so that it's kind of aligned with the control axis. Let's force roll 0, and now I'm just gonna, well, put myself above it and dock to it. Just as easy. Just like this. Very, very simple. Super duper nice. Very easy. Absolutely piece of cake. Alright. Okay, I think we're kind of going for docking here. I wish I could kind of automate this a little bit, and you kind of can. You can use like KOS or something along those lines, but this is just way too complex for this particular case. So this is gonna take a moment, folk. So if you have some questions for me, now would be the perfect time to ask them, because yeah, this is gonna take a while. Okay, control from here. Target, target parity minus. No, parity plus if we're gonna be controlling from the docking ports. Wait, what is going on? It said docking port. Okay, very weird. No idea what's going on. Alright. Let's... Can I switch to locked view? Thank you. Locked view, and we go for docking. Essentially, just the exact same thing. Just maybe a little faster this time. I'm gonna practice my speed docking abilities. It's very nice that, like, in KSP you have a little bit of a magnet thing going on when you're docking. There's just one problem. Your craft magically gains some velocity, as you can see right here. So remember, we were at, like, 0 velocity, and now, once I've docked, we magically have some velocity here. This is a pretty serious bug in KSP, but that's partially the reason why the Aurora space station has the orbit of 75 kilometers, is because if you do a bunch of dockings, you can actually end up deorbiting yourself accidentally. Especially if you do a lot of them. And then it's like super duper easy to do. Alright, let's select the next docking port. Actually, I should probably dock to the further docking ports, but oh well. We didn't do it then, let's not start doing it now. Okay, select parity minus, select locked, and we go for docking. Okay, let's move back a little. Let's move in place. And let's move into position. Okay, I'm almost getting there. Okay, this is it'll stabilize itself. Okay, fine. Number 3 docked. Which is that smarter CS mod? Looks cool. It's the MagChap. It's one of the most useful mods in KSP. I wouldn't call it the most useful just because there's a good candidate for that as well. But yeah, it's called MagChap. It's a very convenient mod that just allows you to do very convenient stuff like basically auto ascent. You can program your entire rocket to get to orbit almost by itself. You have to like pay a little bit of attention to it, but if you're good at it, you can basically do the entire launch all by itself. Very, very convenient, especially if you are doing just a bunch of launches. I am a big fan of designing rockets in a way that like reuses them. And if you have the same design that you're launching over and over and over again, you can just remember the like parameters for MagChap, like the optimal parameters to launch. And then every single time you're going to be launching your rocket with MagChap, A, is going to be super efficient because you've found your perfect ascent profile. And B, you just don't have to think about it. You just press a single button, off you go. Again, not quite, because, for example, if you're using Kerbalism, it's gonna be... there's gonna be a little bit of nuance there. Primarily coming from the fact that you might have engine failures. If you have engine failures, you obviously have to be like on standby just to correct that. Kerbalism does not handle engine failures, and also sometimes if you have like very few engine ignitions, depending on how you design your rocket, that might become a bit of a problem. But in most cases, if you're using like stock KSP, you can definitely do the entire launch sequence completely automagically, is what I call it. Basically don't do anything. It does everything for you. Extremely convenient. Especially for me as a streamer, it just makes it so that while it's launching, I can like more easily interact with the audience, like read something, I don't know, check the newspaper, sometimes literally take just bathroom break, because why not? Also, just notice how we are accelerating away from Aurora with every single docking. It's just magically. We're already gained like 6 meters per second for reasons. So let's actually start our engine here a little bit and just try to correct for that a little. Okay, and then correct the rest with RCS. Holy hell, is it slow, but okay. Okay, I'm just gonna put myself slightly towards Aurora. It's important that we don't ram it, because it's expensive, but I'm just hoping that I'm gonna do everything in time to finish everything before we do that. Okay, so let's dock this one to over here. Target, parity minus, force roll, locked camera, and yada yada yada. Docking, enable RCS, and off we go. I wouldn't imagine a human controlling a rocket manually except for last docking alignment. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what MacJab does. It's actually more realistic with MacJab because you normally don't do that manually. You have a flight computer. Even like as early as Apollo missions, you already had like the computers doing literally everything. But yeah, you can do some minor course adjustments manually, but for the most part, you're using like computers as your primary method of executing maneuvers. You just plan them manually. Sometimes you just might command your computer like, please change my X parameter so that it is Y or something along those lines. That's what you're doing manually. The rest is just fully automatic. And I think, I'm not entirely sure, but can someone correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I think that like SpaceX already docked to ISS just fully automatically. Not entirely sure, but I think they've either done that or they definitely had plans to do so because it's not that hard with modern technology, really. Just oh my god, I accidentally bumped myself. Whoopsie daisy. Well, luckily in KSP you can be way more chill with your docking procedures than in real life. You can essentially do the hell you want and it'll be fine. You can ram your space station a little bit. You can even ram the solar panels if you do that gently enough. And it'll be fine. No refunds if you do that. Okay, and the last one, we are finally finishing the construction process. Here, let's point it again, target, parity, the same thing over and over and over again. I wish I could automate this. I'm pretty sure it's possible, just haven't bothered to do so. What I am enjoying though is that I have aligned all of these probes in a way that just makes the process slightly more repeatable. It's a little easier to do than it normally would be, to be completely honest. Alright, so let's dock it. I'm being very aggressive with this last one, just very, very rapidly approaching. Just really want to get this over with. And it ducks. Okay, so with that out of the way, now here's what I'm going to do. We're still flying away from Aurora, somehow, magically. Like, magic. So I'm just gonna use the engine there to help myself to fly to Aurora, because I do want to dock to it. And the reason I want to dock to it is mostly because I just realized that I still need to I still need to put some of these modules to the Aurora itself because I want to leave a bunch of these crew capsules on Aurora. Why did I dock them to the main craft then? I could have docked them straight to Aurora, but okay, yeah, whatever. Maybe I'll do that in a future episode or something. Definitely don't want to launch this design another time though. This is like way too inconvenient to work with. But for now, let's just time warp till we get slightly closer to Aurora. And at around 100 meters, let's select kill rotation, 0 relative velocity. Let's just stop near it. And then I'm gonna detach this magical engine plate thingy that I still avoided talking about for this entire time. Why is it like I said 0 relative velocity? What are you doing? Why are you decelerating away? It's like sometimes MechJeb just bugs out and just continues like this when it's like still accelerating even though it's like supposed to stop. Especially if you have like usually it happens when you have like targets selected plus or minus, something along those lines, or especially like if you're targeting relative velocity, it'll definitely do that. Weird that it's doing right now though. Very weird. Okay, let's detach the docking port here. I'm just gonna undock this magical engine plate thingy, rotate myself. Okay, let's press control from here and let's press towards targets. And in this particular case, because the thing that we're connecting to is almost as big as the space station itself, the space station will take some parts in connecting. I've just also noticed that I don't actually have a docking port here, which is mildly annoying. Well, that's something. Okay, fine. Let's select control from here. Let's point towards our target. And I don't have a docking port right here, which is where I wanted to dock to. So I guess we'll figure it out somehow. Yeah, I forgot that I need to bring some docking ports to the Aurora space station. It's lacking those severely. But we'll figure it out. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, God damn it, this is so sketchy. This is so sketchy. Alright. So we can't dock directly to it. But look, because these modules right here, they don't actually need the docking ports once they have detached. I'm just gonna return some of the crew from orbit because there's no reason why not, and just test one of these re-entry modules by returning some of the crew. Yeah, there we go. I have a plan, very much planny plan. Or maybe I can just detach one of these docking ports, the big ones, and attach a smaller one instead. Okay, that could also work. Okay, yeah, let's do that. So here is what I'm gonna do. I am going to wait till I'm a little bit closer. I'm gonna switch to precise targeting here. Okay, let's set 0 relative velocity to 0. Just stop in orbit. Turn off all RCS. Let's undock one of these bad boys. And on the Aurora, I'm going to force my dear engineer to go out on a little spacewalk and do a little trick they don't want you to know about. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to take... Why can't I take it, though? Wait, what? I can't detach this docking port? Why? Why, though? Well, that's very convenient. Okay, what if I stage it? I'm just afraid that it, like, will slam the docking port against the main part here. So let's just do a little quick save here. Okay, this is gonna be sketchy as hell. Oh, because it detaches this entire thing. Okay, I get it. Wow, that's weird. I didn't think about it. I forgot that, yeah, it has this weird detachment mechanism. Alright, sure, whatever. So first of all, again, let's put ourselves to 0 relative velocity, just so that we're not floating away, because that would be inconvenient. And this also relates to this part here, because it also has some acceleration. And see, it, like, instead of slowing down, it actually started accelerating me for some reason. Sometimes it just bugs out and does the wrong thing. Alright, so dear Bill here is going to go and take one of these smaller docking ports. This one. Gonna take the docking ports and he's gonna go, he's gonna attach it to here. For some reason I can't attach it properly. I'm trying real hard here. Okay, like that. So he's gonna put it in there. Nice. And now this thing can go and attach itself to this docking port right there. And the freed up big docking ports can be reattached to the primary docking port here. Okay, very convenient. Now, if I go back to the Aurora space station, now it's aligning itself towards Ungabunga, and Ungabunga is aligning itself towards that. And they might actually just connect themselves. I think they're already on an intercept course, kind of, sort of-ish. And they have docked. And just like that, we have solved our dilemma. There's just a bit of a problem with everything floating away for absolutely no reason again. Very inconvenient. I absolutely hate it. This is like such a weird bug. I don't know why it exists, but it's like very annoying when it happens. Okay, Bill is back at the space station, and now all we have to do is just set control from here, and I'm going to select the docking port over here and do the docking procedure thing, whatever. Alright, let's put the camera again to locked mode, so that it's just easier for me to aim everything. Also notice that it's weird and rotated now for absolutely no reason, but, you know, that's the reality of it. Unfortunately, when you're using construction orbits, it's not very flushed out, and sometimes you will have these weird artifacts of, like, attaching something incorrectly. Like, it's just being rotated a little bit relative to other parts, which is just annoying. But, oh well. Alright, so let's finish the docking real quick here. And I'm gonna use this as, like, the primary safety capsule thingy that I'm just gonna leave on the space station here. And the other ones I'm just gonna probably take with me to other destinations. Alright, so we have successfully docked now because I have compulsive something disorder. I'm gonna press control from here and rotate the entire space station so that it's facing prograde because it looks prettier that way. Because even though space doesn't have a up or down, I still want the space station aligned with zenith and whichever one is down with the fancy one. On ISS you have like zenith is up, and then I don't remember what it is for down, but then you also have the port side and the starboard side as if it's a ship because reasons. You still want like some sense of direction even when you're in space, just so that everyone knows roughly what is where. Alright, so now another problem is that this craft itself is now unbalanced because it doesn't have one of the docking ports there. So what I could do is I could ask Bill to go again and just reattach one of the, like, I could like undock one of these capsules, reattach the docking port to, I don't know, somewhere, just attach somewhere there, and attach the other capsule over there, and that way we'll have a spare docking ports on the Aurora. It's just that it's gonna require another EVA. Oh my god, this is so annoying. But unfortunately, I think that this has to be done. Otherwise, it's gonna be unbalanced and it's gonna be annoying to deal with. And why is there no electric charge on it? Is there truly no electric charge? Wow, that is inconvenient. Okay, so what do I do? Oh my god. Okay, okay, first of all, we have to wait till it gets from like 2 meters away, because docking ports will not attract until you get like 2 meters away from them. Then they will like reset, and you can like dock again by moving the entire space station, because I didn't realize that we don't really have electric charge there. So I'm gonna set control from here. Oh, whoa. Easy there, mate. Easy there. Kill rotation. Okay. No rapid actions. Okay. Point ourselves. Bear T minus. Okay. Just like that. Nice and easy. No rapid movements. Actually, don't force roll. Don't force anything. Okay, now let's just carefully dock to it. Holy cow, is this weird. I'm basically trying to dock the entire space station to a small shuttle instead of vice versa. This is so sketchy. This is so sketchy. Oh my god. Welcome to Code Reptile. Here we do everything like you're not supposed to. And we still call ourselves professionals, because it's probably still better than what most of you do. Alright, so we have averted the crisis. Now let's just wait till we get to sunrise and recharge our batteries and do the shenanigans then. Alright, let's point prograde, slow ourselves down. I mean, it's really unfortunate that these like orbital constructions, EVAs in KSP are just so hard. They're so annoying to complete. But there goes the sun, and it's and we're in the shadow of Mun. It's like, yeah, we have Mun making a huge shadow here. I think we're still using up electricity. Also, for some reason, we're using electricity very rapidly. Oh, it's because we're wobbling. We're wobbling again. Oh my god, it always happens. But no, look at that. We're still using like 12 units of electricity per second. Where are we using so much electric charge? We have 6 units of electricity used for experiments. What experiment are we running? Oh, it's the jammed experiment. Okay, yeah, it uses a lot of electricity and it works in shadow, which is weird. But yeah, whatever. So now we're just gonna have to wait till the batteries recharge fully, preferably. Luckily, they will recharge pretty quickly. We have a bunch of solar panels here. There's just one problem with Mon being, well, Mon, causing just a random shadow out of absolutely nowhere for no reason at all other than to just annoy me. Alright, so I'm just gonna charge the batteries here, wait for another orbit, and on the next orbit I think we're gonna recharge the batteries in full, and that's when we're gonna attempt the restructuring, redocking, everything. I think we might actually, yeah, we actually ran out of electricity there. Also, the weird thing came back to haunt us. It's still there, trying to annoy us. Okay, so off we go. We're no longer in shadow. Alright. Actually, I think it would be beneficial if we maybe reoriented the space station a little to like maximize electric production. Not sure. Oh, by the way, what we definitely can do right now is we can actually transfer the fuel from our primary fuel reserves to these hydrogen tanks. And what that will do is it will mean that we'll empty some of the tanks and we will not have to cool them any longer, which is very, very convenient because cooling tanks takes quite a bit of electric charge. That's the drawback of using liquid hydrogen engines. They're more efficient per unit of mass, which is nice if you're trying to like progress at early stages when you don't have the launch pad upgraded, so you're limited in the mass that you can take to orbit. But it does come at a pretty significant cost of like having to cool the liquid hydrogen down so that it doesn't evaporate, because it's a cryogenic fuel, and this just constantly forces you to ensure you have sufficient electric charge production. But as you've noticed, we've actually reduced our electric consumption by like 0.8 units, which is nice. Okay, we can actually kind of go and deploy some of these solar panels. I think the way that we have all of these modules attached, I think we can actually open all of them up. And look at that. Wow, they actually kind of sort of work. That actually looks not too bad. Definitely doesn't look like something that was planned for, but, you know, whatever. This should give us a little bit more electricity. Okay, let's time warp till we get the rest of the electric charge. Okay, just like that. And while we are still here, i.e. in sunlight, I'm gonna close the solar panels and do the whole maneuver thing right here, where I still have the ability, just in case something goes terribly wrong, to open the solar panels on this thing here, instead of like having to reattach the entire space station to it. Okay, so let's undock it. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to move it. I want to move it like somewhere there. So let's put ourselves to locked mode. And let's just move ourselves to our destination. I'm just gonna park it near the spot where I want to dock it. And once there, I'm going to force build to go, move the docking ports to the place where I want to like eventually dock. And from there, we'll figure it out how to like actually dock it. Hello there, Astronaut. Nice to meet you. Okay, so let's kind of move it a little bit further here. This is kind of weird. Just trying to get it into place. No, not the other direction. Okay, like that. Good enough. Okay, let's rotate it. Rotate it like this. It would be very convenient if we won't hit that solar panel, but I guess we are gonna hit it. Oh well. Okay, let's press 0 relative velocity. Just make sure that we're stationary. Now, I'm gonna ask, Dear Bill, would you please do your thing? Because you are an engineer, you can do this little party trick where you go, you take the thing that you like, and you attach it to a different place. Very convenient party trick. Very nice. Actually, you know what? Let's grab it. You know, there's actually a crack and drive using the construction mode. Because the part that you're moving, when you're like selecting it, it doesn't like actually move anywhere. Technically, it like has 0 mass when you're moving it. You can like actually accelerate yourself by taking apart, shoving it with like some velocity, then using EVA. You basically like you deselect the parts, accelerate yourself with the jetpack, and then you attach it to the craft, and that part, because it has been like moving with you, it suddenly moves the entire craft, because when you had it selected, it had 0 mass, and so you didn't really have to work hard to accelerate it. But once you attach it, the full mass is restored, and now suddenly the entire space station is moving once you have attached it. Very weird party trick. Doesn't really matter. No one cares. Okay, let's go and try to dock to that port over there. It's just a little bit of a nuance that we have the solar panel, and I want to be just kind of careful when docking to it. Just want to be cautious, not to plunge through it like we normally do. Just want to be careful here. But I also don't want to waste like 10 billion hours on this docking operation. So this is going to be a balancing effort. Just trying not to ram it, but also trying not to take a billion hours to complete the docking. But I think we're doing fine. I think I'm getting like more and more practice with all of these orbital constructions. All right. So I think this should be kind of it. And the docking has been completed. Yay! Now, all of these maneuvers, all of these orbital constructions, you can see that Aurora's orbit has degraded quite substantially. And in order to correct for that, I'm going to create a couple of maneuvers. Dear MagChap, would you please open up the maneuver planner? And I'm gonna change my periapsis, because it's the most ruined one, to 75 kilometers at next apoapsis, and I'm gonna select the RCS burn because I don't want to use engine ignitions, because engines are too powerful for this maneuver in general. I'm just going to do this burn with RCS. This is actually a rather new feature that has been recently added to MagChap. And yes, MagChap is still being developed, surprisingly. But yeah, just gonna rotate the space station here, do the maneuver, and just correct my orbit slightly. I'm not gonna bother correcting the apoapsis because it's higher than what I want. Yes, but not too much. It's like 1.3 kilometers off my target 75-kilometer orbit, which is within margin of error. That's fine. The periapsis, though, at 72.6 kilometers, it's kind of too close to atmosphere. A few more docking maneuvers, and there's a decent chance that I might accidentally deorbit my space station. And as you might have guessed, it's an extremely expensive space station, so definitely don't want to do that. All right. Normally, I would time warp here to the physics time warp so that it aligns itself faster, but with the space station being quite big and the physics indicator in the corner already flipping yellow most of the time, I don't want to risk it because there's a decent chance it might not survive the time warp. I was going for 45 minutes. Yes, probably. I don't know. I wasn't watching how long you were gone for, primarily because I can't really see that. Alright, so let's complete this maneuver here. Again, I'm gonna wait till we have used our reaction wheels to align ourselves with the maneuver node. Then I'm gonna obviously enable RCS because this is going to be an RCS burn. So let's carefully align ourselves here. The problem is, like, the space station is already starting to wobble like crazy at this point. So can we use some auto struts to heavy Sparta or something along those lines to correct for it? Just a little bit, at least. Alright, let's enable RCS here. Let's hope that it won't wobble itself into oblivion. It's pretty long, which is not good for space station stability. But I'm sure it's gonna be fine. I'm sure it'll handle it. KSB has claimed that the Kraken is dead, and well, we hope that it is. But as you can see, it'll do the entire maneuver completely with RCS, very efficient. And now we can see that our periapsis is, well, almost 75 kilometers. Very convenient. And with that out of the way, we have completed all of our shenanigans around the Aurora. Now we can actually go and do the thing that we wanted to complete. So first of all, again, I have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and I want to press control from here, and I want to align the station to prograde, primarily so that it's like in an orientation that I expect it to be in. I have to turn my base pieces into a train to get it to the main hub, by the way. Well, I mean, this is also kind of a train. Well, it's not a train in the sense that it's like it's not long, but they're also connected. You know what I mean? It's like a beehive thing, something. I don't know what this is, to be completely honest. Okay. So, with that out of the way, our space station is now officially capable of returning a couple Kerbals back. Honestly, I wanted to leave some more of these reentry models on Aurora because it's a very frequent destination. But at the same time, it doesn't really have anywhere to dock them to. So, not that we can do that without further expanding the space station. But I think we can actually go to Mun with all of this setup. Oh, no, wait. Remember I was talking about deorbiting a bunch of Kerbals. So, the problem with that is that I kind of don't want to use the reentry, even though I have like 8 of them. I don't want to use the reentry modules like if they're not full, because they can house 3 Kerbals, and I can only send 2 down right now because I want Valentina to pilot the actual Unga Bunga spacecraft to Mun to complete the whole return a bunch of Kerbals from Mun objective that we have. And the other 3 astronauts, I really want to leave Bill on the space station here because I really want at least 1 engineer on Aurora, because pretty much every single episode that I have in the series, something has to be built around Aurora. So yeah, it's a curse, an absolute curse. But for some reason, it actually says that I've completed the task of launch the Mun space station. Wait, what? Do a supply. Okay, we have completed do a supply run to Aurora. That is what I understand. I don't understand how did we complete the Mun space station objective without launching the Mun space station or being near Mun at all. Oh, we've completed like the side grade thing where we have to like launch the processing lab. And it, for some reason, it was fine with some just random lab that was like already there to begin with. Well, that's interesting. Sure, yeah, whatever. We got money. That's great, right? Right. So let's not think about it too hard. Right. So, the plan from now is to take the Unga Bunga, the new and refueled. Oh, by the way, I forgot about this tank. We also have this weird tank in the middle here, which, well, it exists. So let's refuel it. Can you, like, work, please? Thank you. We've actually, like, used a surprising amount of our fuel reserves near Aurora. Like, we have used a lot, but that's fine. I mean, I've already had many scenarios when I was launching something and I have some excess fuel, I dock to Aurora, and I think I've already had a scenario when I just didn't have any fuel reserves left on Aurora to just store the actual excess that I have. Because every single mission I'm constantly thinking that, oh, what if I need some more? Oh, wait, it used some oxidizer in these tanks. Oh, wow, that's so annoying. Oh my god, I just noticed that because of, like, poor fuel priority, it used fuel from these fuel tanks and we have to refuel them. Oh my god, this is so stupid. Okay, again, these hydrogen tanks have to be maximum priority. This is so stupid. Oh my god. God damn it. Yeah, and we're gonna have to refuel those small tanks. So what happened is because KSP considers these little gnomes as, like, lower stage, it started using propellant from them because it thought of them as detachable fuel tanks, which they're not, but, well, it had a goal. So now I'm gonna have to select all of them, all these billion trillion tanks, which I have 8 times 4. I don't like that number. That's a lot. That's way too many. Oh my god, so I have to select all of these tanks and I have to refuel all of them. Because in every single one of these tanks, a little bit of oxidizer is missing. And I don't really have, like, a lot to spare there. This is like not one of those scenarios where I'd be like, ah, yeah, you know, whatever. Also, I should probably be counting how many fuel tanks I have selected, because I don't want to miss any. But I mean, it's too late for that, so oh well. If anyone has been counting, that would be convenient, but why do I doubt that? I wonder why. Okay, so we're gonna select all of these fuel tanks, and also not forget about these fuel tanks. And the UI is starting to lag. It's like noticeably lagging right now. With every single fuel tank I'm selecting, it's lagging more and more. Hello, sorry the Jewel Hotel is delayed. That is bad. I need my Jewel Hotel. I need it. Okay, I think I've actually kind of selected maximum amount. It doesn't allow me to select more right now. It just does not. Okay, so let's deselect that. Let's select this big tank here. And it just doesn't allow me to select another tank. Look, I'm pressing on it. Nothing's happening. Okay, finally selected it. Okay, I'm just gonna press this one, oxidizer off, and wait a billion years for the oxidizer to fill up. And it is transferring, it's just extremely slow for no reason. My computer died. It looked like the ship from Frontiers Await with turret excursion pods and all. Well, that sounds really great. So for those of you who don't know what's going on, in my Discord, which, by the way, join my Discord, I asked this fine viewer to create Jewel Hotel for me for one of the videos that I'm working on. And if you want to know what that video is, join the Discord. You can have a lot of fun there. It's very cool. Alright, so for some reason, the UI is lagging like crazy, and the fuel transfer is taking an absolute billion years to complete. It's like literally doing 1/100th per like 2 to 3 seconds. So yeah, I guess it's gonna take a while. God damn it! What is it with this craft? Like, oh my god, that's what. This is like precisely the reason why I tend to create crafts before the streams, because it's so easy to miss one of these like small details, and then you have to correct it when already in orbit, and it's just so inconvenient. Also, switch to map screen to reduce lag. I don't think the fuel transfer will keep on going, and I definitely don't want to like redo selecting all of these tanks. So no, I'm just gonna wait for it. It's like, if it works, don't touch it. That is like the rule in computer science. If it's working, just leave it alone. Let it be. Don't touch it. It'll be fine. Okay, so again, it's kind of weird that the vertical stream has such a poor performance. I don't understand why. It's like usually pretty good. It's very weird. Very weird. Usually I get like couple, well, not a couple hundred, but like definitely around 100 views on the vertical stream, and right now it's like 10. I'm like, what the hell? The horizontal stream is doing just fine though. It's like 70 views, which is around what I would normally expect. So very weird. And while we were discussing all of that, the fuel transfer is complete. So now, actually Nah, the map mode is also lagging like crazy. Like everything is lagging. Now I just have to deselect all of these. Come on. Come on. Deselect. Please. Please don't lag so hard. I don't know why, but like after I went to map view, it started lagging harder. So so this is like bad. To the point where I can't even operate it. Okay, you know what? First of all, let's do a quick save here just in case. And let's just try to load it back. I don't want to keep deselecting these for 10,000 years, so we're gonna use this little trick. Can you make a lathe probe sometime? Yes, I will be making lathe probes. I will be making probes to like every single destination. I mean, I'm planning to keep this series for a while. Essentially for like maybe a year, 2 years more. So we'll get to that stuff. Right now we're kind of sort of preparing to colonize Eve. I mean, I can already time warp till that happens, but I just wanna gain some like money, prepare for it a little bit. So that's why I'm doing all of these small little missions. They're not necessary, to be completely honest. I mean, I already have the release system in flight to Eve. I could like launch some more missions right now. But, you know, just want to take a little bit of time here to organize everything. To make sure that once I actually start making operations around Eve, that it's, well, gonna be not... I'm not gonna lose the opportunity. Alright, so we have corrected our absolutely terrible mistake with the fuel tanks. Again, just want to make sure that the fuel priority on this one is very high so that it doesn't happen again, because that was very bad. Definitely don't want this to happen ever again. Just make a quick save there, just in case. Okay, so for future, I think we're gonna have to detach the Unga Bunga and fly towards Mon. But I mean, I've been streaming for... How long has it been? How long have I been streaming for? I've been streaming for 3.5 hours. Holy... I thought I was like at 2 hours. Okay, you know what? Let's wrap it up here, because this took way too long. I thought it's gonna take like an hour and a half maximum. And it's like 3 hours by this point, with like the designing of this stupid craft and then all the orbital construction. Okay, I just joined, lol. Well, oh well. I mean, you can rewind if you want to, or join next time or something, but... Well, I mean, that's bound to happen. Sometimes you join the stream just before it finishes. But yeah, I am definitely cooked. I can barely think right now. I don't know if it's noticeable, but it's 4 o'clock in nighttime. It's like really late for me, so I think we're definitely gonna wrap it up here. You get like that 500k for a lathe probe. Yeah. Well, actually, I don't think so. I've actually tested it's like not that much. But not sure. I might check it out, because actually like making lathe probes is not that hard. I remember when you made that probe launcher SSDO thing. We actually haven't launched it yet. Still, I'm like doing all these minor operations around Kerbin, just setting up things, preparing for the inevitable colonization of Eve. It's gonna be pretty grand. I just want to like prepare everything, and then I'm gonna have this super duper long, like 12-hour stream where it's gonna be just continuously me launching the crafts, going to Eve, time warping, and I just really want to make the entire colonization of Eve to be in one stream, very action-packed, something that will, be interesting to watch, maybe even as a regular video, not just a stream in the background. Okay, land the nuclear engines, they save money. Not really, by the way, not really, because while they do save money on, like, launch costs, because fuel is more efficiently used and everything, they have radiation, so they require more radiation shielding on your spacecraft when you're using them, so that's also a problem. Can you get deep freeze? Yes, I can, but it's in slightly further nodes. By the way, yeah, let's go to Space Center. Let's do our end stream, little bit of planning, something that I've always done and something that I never follow later. So first of all, let's just save here. What's my naming convention? I don't even remember my naming convention. This looks so bad. I'm just cooked by this point. 014. I think it's 014. Okay, so R&D. I think we get deep freeze somewhere here. No, not here. I don't know where it is, actually. No clue. Which scientific node is it? Long-term habitation, no, that's not it. Not radiators, definitely not it. I mean, it's supposed to be somewhere, but I don't know where it is. I don't know which node is it. Oh, there it is. So we get our first freezing chambers at 550. The problem is not even the science for that. The problem is just upgrading the R&D facility. It just takes a lot of time to earn that amount of money, and we have to complete a bunch of these contracts just to get all that money to upgrade the R&D. And getting the science itself is not going to be hard. I'm fairly certain that our missions to Eve will give us so much science that we're gonna be able to research pretty much anything we want within, like, the next couple of layers, as long as we can upgrade the R&D facility, which forces me to do a billion of these money-making program thing, completing, basically just completing contract after contract after contract. I'm slightly contemplating my choice of, like, picking the harder options at, like, 60% reward funds. I thought it's gonna make it slightly more interesting, slightly more challenging, and it kind of did at the start, but now it just forces me to do all of these repetitive missions. It's just hard to keep it particularly entertaining. Also, search. You can search deep freeze. Wow. Okay. I've never used search. I'll be honest. I've, like, never used search ever. But it actually didn't find them, because you have to know what you're searching for. I would never have guessed that I wanna search for cryonic freezing chamber. So, kind of useful, but also not really. Okay, with that out of the way, let's wrap it up here. Thanks everyone for joining. Join the Discord if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next episode, which will probably be tomorrow, actually. My stream on these weekends. So, thanks again for joining, and bye-bye.